How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on VGWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, Still.
Fenarian.
And Volatile, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. But first of all, if you would like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at excusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server, which you can most easily access by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on our show logo on any of our recent show posts, which will take you directly to our Discord server, where you can interact with us in real time during the show.
Do it. Do it now.
I hear chatter in the background. Are you in a noisy house?
Maybe.
My mic's on toggle mute, so not me.
Not me. Oh well.
I think I hear air conditioner as well.
I will not confirm or deny anything.
Well, I know it's stinking hot there
Yeah.
in the bowels of hell, otherwise known as Australia.
Yeah, we were supposed to get the remnants of a cyclone hit us and, be inundated by a massive storm and thunder and lightning and possibly some of the magic sky water. Yeah, no, nothing.
Yeah, we've stolen a little bit up here. It's been raining literally all week.
Yeah. So, on the stream today, I'm playing a bit of Skyforge, which, since I last played it, has changed everything. Again. They do this with annoying regularity.
This seems to be a trait of free-to-play MMOs that they just can't leave well enough alone.
Yeah. I liked the
They're
last...
just constantly changing.
I like their last major changes, which was take the amount of currencies from 1 million down to maybe about 30.
Well, that was very, very much necessary.
They have done another currency prune, at least. But they've also pruned a lot of other things, like the actual being a deity system. So,
wait, what? So you're not a deity anymore?
No, well,
Nobody worships you anymore?
You're still an immortal, you're still a god, but you don't go and manage your own little...
cult.
And there is no 20-foot tall statue of you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that being changed the last time I played as well. They had a strange new system involving... I don't actually remember the details, but it was like you would do research or something on things and stuff and place, and I didn't really understand any of it, to be honest, which seems to be the biggest roadblock with new MMOs for me these days. Possibly that I'm a bit simple or something.
Possibly.
Because I don't understand most of what's going on, and nobody really seems that interested in explaining it, which has been my bugbear with both Black Desert and Warframe. That they've got a lot of systems and not a lot of explanation of those systems.
Or, especially in the case of Black Desert, very badly translated explanations. And,
yeah.
In the case of Skyforge, they've got a fully comprehensive explanation system on what they call the Alienet, which used to be accessed by these glowy balls here. One problem, though, it's not anymore, and they don't tell you where it is.
Is it still there?
Supposedly, it's not on the...
or did they just decide it was too bloaty and take it out?
Which means, yeah, you log into the game and it says, this system has changed. Go to the Alienet to see how it's changed and what's new. But they don't tell you how to do that. And the in-game machines that used to connect you to it don't anymore.
Do they do anything?
Nope, nothing. I'm going to attack one just because. Whee!
Right. Yeah, but this is pretty much free to play MMOs in a nutshell, and I think I wonder if they feel like they've got to, I don't know, keep running on the log maybe, and just keep changing things to keep people interested. I don't really know what the motivation is, but it must be pretty significant.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a man in his underpants. This is a deity, by the way. Or was a deity, I guess. The underpants deity.
Well, I mean, that's more than a lot of deities seem to bother wearing.
We're looking at you, Greek pantheon. So I'm going to just poke around probably one of the adventure zones. They've changed everything again, so the skill tree's gone. Instead, now you just do a quests for each class, which amounts to go to a place and kill the things. No specific place, just go and kill the things until we say to stop. Then we'll give you a new ability and say go kill some more things. That's your whole skill tree now. That's how it works.
I see.
The big old globe here in the middle of the screen doesn't really do a whole lot anymore. It just connects you onto the map.
But huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of these changes sound like that for the worse to me.
Yeah.
So I liked the sphere grid.
Yeah.
In fact, I like sphere grids in general. Like they are I feel like they're my ideal sort of illusion of choice, in that you can build your character how you want, but if you stick at it, you eventually learn everything.
Eventually, yeah.
Everybody's the same in that particular respect.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with that, because the odds that a normal person will get there in any sort of reasonable fashion without buying any pay to win or accelerators or anything like that seems to be very unlikely that you're going to manage to do. So you will have a time to grow attached to particular ways of doing things. And that's been in something that has really stymied World of Warcraft in their latest system. Their retake of artifact power is entirely linear and nobody cares because of it.
Yeah. Alright, so let me see. The one thing that I do like, actually, is with this whole map, is they actually show you what you've done on the map now. Just by having the territory that the dungeon or the adventure area is in marked as red or, well, not red, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the whole point behind having a temple for each class marked on the map is, other than just another way to get
there was one. There was one. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it's in its own way, it's almost bloatier.
In some ways, yeah.
But I enjoyed being able to use sphere grid and pick the directions I was going and the sorts of nodes that I was emphasizing pursuing and that kind of thing. There just seemed to be a lot of high points to it that I enjoyed that I guess gone now.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of sad about that.
I'm not exactly sure what Might does anymore. You still collect followers by finding random people standing around adventure zones, but they don't seem to do anything anymore, I think. Yeah, there's a whole lot that's not really explained. See, look, there we go. I just got some followers. The more followers you have, the greater your might. Fine. Might used to be your overall power, if I recall correctly. Now, that's your prestige, I think, now. Yeah.
Okay.
So now you got these temples, and there's a treasure chest. Excellent. By just racking up might. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing there. I'm just racking up might. So anyway, I'm going to play one of the newer classes. I'm going to play a bit of the Outlaw, which is a dual gun cowboy type god. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole gods thing, it seemed a bit arbitrary.
It did.
The that you are a god part, you didn't really feel like one per se, and you feel even less like one now that you don't have a statue of yourself.
I know, right?
But
my inner narcissist wants that statue back.
Yeah, yeah. that was what set you apart from just being a hero, though, was the very visible temple to you.
Yeah, like if you see a few characters and players standing around here with halos, and they're the people who have achieved their full divinity by just playing through all the places and doing all the things. You get a whole bunch of other perks and stuff once you actually achieve that. So
there were some cool boss battles in that quest, some like really big fancy, but with big and fancy came bugs aplenty, and I'm pretty sure that my completion of it was more or less due to me bugging it out somehow rather than because I did it correctly.
Yeah, there are a few boss battles you can do that and just hide behind a box and they just wig out and get stuck.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that sort of bug. I don't even consider that a bug. That's just a pathing glitch. When I say a bug, I mean a bug. I mean, like, something causes the boss to despawn.
Oh, yes. Let me
Yeah,
see.
not that plebeian type of bug where, oh, well, the pathing gets confused if you stand behind a box. No, I mean, the thing exploded.
The boss just randomly fell over and died for no apparent reason.
It was very confusing.
Yes. So yeah, I'll try a bit of that on the stream, and we'll see how this goes. I have absolutely no idea what to expect for the gunslinger class, the outlaw. But I've been playing a bit of Berserker, which is what I've currently spec'd into now, even though my character's not really dressed one. He's dressed like a priest, because reasons. But I'll see if I can actually show here. 1, 2, 3, whee! Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, you have problems with your combos launching your character, which is fine when you're headed towards an enemy, but when there's no enemy, the AI and the game might just decide that it's going to fling you off the nearest cliff.
I never had that problem, and I clocked more time on Berserker than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't recall having any such issue.
So that might just be a fairly new thing.
Mind you, I was always heading towards it, because that's what a Berserker does.
That's what you're supposed to do, yes. I'm actually got the sound turned off for the stream as well, but the Berserker is an incredibly noisy class.
Well, it's a Berserker. I don't know what you want. It's like you're saying, oh, I'm playing the Berserker, but it does all the sort of things that Berserkers do, and I don't like.
Well, sort of. There's no yelling. There's a little bit of yelling, but largely it's...
You're using a giant chainsaw!
Exactly! So it's all giant chainsaw noises. Actually, I'm going to change my costume too, because dressing as a priest and wielding 2 guns sends the wrong message. These have very strange ammunition belts on them too. I'm even not sure how that's supposed to work.
I don't even understand why these concepts are strange. And that's the whole God thing, right? The reason it confuses me is that if you are playing like a gunner or something, being a god basically seems to be being a glorified Star Wars stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Like you don't look any different to the commando class thing that they had, the heavy gunner type class in SWTOR.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're more or less the same thing. And it's very bewildering to me in a lot of ways.
All right. So anyway, I guess we can jump in on some weeks and have a look at that as well. Aside from playing a bit of Skyforge, I've been watching a bit of anime. I sat down and went through a good chunk of Black Desert. Not Black Desert, sorry, Black Clover.
You really seem to be most comfortable with popcorn shonen.
I do enjoy a good popcorn shonen, and Black Clover is exactly that. Yeah, it didn't make the greatest impression starting, because it says, oh, we're Naruto, except with a more annoying protagonist. But, yeah, they don't stay there, thankfully. They carve out their own little niche.
The popularity of that series has been growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
It's taken off a lot more in the West over the past couple months. Like nobody was interested when it came out, and it's got a lot of fans now. A lot of people got hooked around the time that the real heavy hitters in the series started making their presence known. It's sort of how Bleach went from becoming banal monster of the week daily to sort of cult status for a while during the Soul Society arc, because suddenly they introduced lots of powerful characters with lots of interesting things that they did.
Yes.
People like having a checklist to go through, and they supply the exact same thing in the exact same way. Black Clover. That for once they've got somebody powerful on their side, but that means the stakes have to be raised proportionally.
Yep. So yeah, it's nothing new. Black Clover's all just by the numbers shonen, but it's got some fun characters
at a higher volume.
And a higher volume, yeah. Like Asta, he quietens down occasionally later on.
Usually when he's confused, as soon as he understands, he'll start making noise again.
Lots and lots of noise. So yeah, if you watched it when it first came out and only watched the first few episodes, go back and give it another try. It's worth pointing out that each episode is only about 15 minutes long, despite what the actual runtime says.
because they've got the backstory at the start, and then they've got
The intro.
5-10 minutes of previews and
Yeah.
of recaps, and oftentimes they will recycle a flashback more than once, or flashback to something that actually happened in the show. It's very Naruto in that respect.
Yeah. So you can blitz through all, what is it, 60-something episodes now rather quickly.
I think up to 62, something like that.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what these tooltips and how this class is supposed to work. I think I'm supposed to shoot things, and then fling grenades, and then spin in a circle and shoot things. Let's jump in and try it.
You don't necessarily have to do all of them. Like, I very rarely bothered to use the traps on the archer.
Yeah. Oh.
I shot things with arrows.
Oh, right. I'm in an area I'm actually horrendously over-leveled and geared for, so things just die. Got to say, though, I do enjoy quite a few of the characters as they get introduced in Black Clover. You've got, like, you've got the standard tropes, the womanizer, the idiot, and the glutton, and all of that. And then you've got the standing wizard king. I love that guy. He's such an enormous nerd.
Yeah, that I sort of found amusing. It was the archetype that the Hokage in Naruto was supposed to fill was the professor, but he never did that at all.
No, he never really did.
The Wizard King, on the other hand, he's not really concerned about the same sorts of priorities as other people. Obviously.
No. Everything could be going to hell, and he'll be still geeking out over some new magic. So good times. I do recommend you go and check that out. Other anime, not a whole lot really. Haven't gone back to Hunter x Hunter. Now that I've caught up to date on that, because that anime is really badly paced. Like really badly paced.
Putting it lightly.
Yeah. Incidentally, there is a throwaway comment in Black Clover disparaging Hunter x Hunter.
Is there?
Yeah. That what's his name? The commander of the Black Bulls. Having a brain fart at the moment. Yami. Says that sword reminds me of a stupid, overblown hairdo, and this annoys me.
Is that? I guess I don't know that that's to do with.
Spoilers, somewhat towards the at the end of the Chimera Ant arc. Gon gets himself a super form with a hairdo that will make a troll dog ashamed. It is completely absurd. I don't think they actually render the top of this hairdo in the anime. It just keeps going. Does it make sense? No. Not at all. Not even remotely. But who cares? So, yeah. As for games... Yeah, pretty much that. The only game I really have played that's actually worth talking about this week is Smash Bros. And I think we'll just leave that for Ari's week.
Okay, you want to do that one in my week? Okay, we'll save it.
So, we'll move on with Sir Vol, your week.
Oh, my week, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it
Oh, it
short.
wasn't very interesting. What did I do this week? Trying to think of anything interesting that I did this week. I didn't watch any new anime or anything. I'm just keeping up with the old ones. I will say that I laughed until I couldn't breathe at the last episode of the slime one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only up I finally got around to watching it, but I'm only up to episode 10. So I haven't seen the latest 2 episodes.
You've got a couple more episodes. I think they're going for a dual core on this one at least, which is really happy to see. But yeah, Gabiru, the lizard man prince. Oh boy. So I'm glad that they've taken this turn. Everything kind of got serious and feelsy for a while there. And now that that's all over with, we're back to complete and utter lunacy.
Indeed we Oh my goodness, that lizard.
I
That
love
lizard.
the guy. He's a complete
And you
idiot.
get to see Gobster be a badass basically,
Yeah. I wasn't
which I
expecting.
did not expect.
I was actually expecting Gobster to win that fight after Ranga threw him in there.
I was too. I wasn't expecting him to dominate like some kind of ninja.
Yeah. Because hang on, where did he learn these skills now? I guess this is what happens when he's frequently left to die.
Yeah, you gotta make do somehow. Gotta preserve yourself.
Is that the goblin they left tied up in
That's
the
it.
Yes, it is.
in the jail cell? Okay.
Yeah, he's the butt monkey of
Yeah.
the story. Everything bad happens to him, but it seems to basically be turning him into a total badass.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
even
no.
managed to acquire skills that Rimuru doesn't have,
Yeah.
simply because he gets abused so much that he has to in order to survive.
I have made a terrible mistake. Oh dear.
Yeah, I've been passing up on pretty much every anime recommendation given to me for the past year and a half. But on a whim, I decided I'll watch a couple episodes of the Slime anime while I'm waiting on something at work to come through. And
It's
I
more
wound
fun
up,
than it has any right to be.
I wound up
is.
binging all of the episodes that were out at the time.
Yeah, well, it seems like your normal terrible isekai with a terrible name. Like, that time I got reincarnated as slime. That time I got reincarnated in another world with my smartphone. That time I'm an idiot. I don't know.
That time you're a refrigerator.
Look at it like
It's
this.
coming.
He doesn't have a little sister that he's in love with.
Incidentally,
That is
Yeah.
unfortunately a lot of points in favor of the show.
that is a massive step forward.
But yeah,
You wouldn't credit it, would you? This is the world in which we now live.
Okay, now I've got to pick a zone that I'm not going to get horribly murdered in. So,
But what else?
yeah.
I haven't had much time to do anything this week. It's been a very tiring week in a lot of ways.
Yeah. You seem to have a lot of fun venting your spleen on that employee survey, though.
Yes, I did. I filled out the employee engagement survey, and generally speaking, you know, there's a lot left to be desired by my workplace. I don't know, like, even if they wanted to solve the issues, I'm not sure how many of them they could solve given the current resources they have available to them.
Yeah.
But a bigger problem is a lack of will to do so. I've talked to a lot of people, like, because in a sense, the survey as I filled it out was not just like my opinion; it was sort of a rhetorical projection of the general mood of the place, or at least the segment of it that I work with, and the dissatisfaction that a lot of people are feeling, because I know that there's a lot of people there who are too shy, I suppose, to genuinely express how upset they are at some of the things that go on. So, yeah, it ended up being sort of a synthesis of a lot of things. But, yeah, I spent a lot of time working on that, and I wrote nearly 5,000 words of basically rage.
Yeah.
There were constructive bits in there, but mostly it was just venting. It should tell you something, though, if your employees are using your staff feedback survey just to vent. Like, there's clearly something wrong in that case. But I've talked to some people, and a lot of people have their doubts about the leadership. And one guy even said that he reckons that the manager may just be padding his CV,
Ugh.
and that he really has no interest in making the place work so much as using it as a stepping stone, because
Yeah.
it would not be quite accurate to say that it's beyond salvation, but I could understand getting that impression that it was.
Yeah.
Oh, you people running
Yeah.
companies in the ground flashback me to work so hard I started choking.
I know that feeling, right? Black.
Don't do that. I couldn't reach the mute button fast enough.
But yeah, basically the company locally seems to more or less be in a death spiral. It's a very slow death spiral, as these things sometimes are.
Mhm.
Like, it could probably carry on as it is doing for years, probably.
Yeah.
Just dying slowly by degrees, unless somebody came along to really shake things up, which would probably just delay it a little bit. You know what I mean? But it's not in a very healthy state, and it's got itself stuck in this sort of loop of we don't hire based on hiring quality people. We don't pay them enough, so we don't get quality people to hire. The people aren't being rewarded commensurate with the effort they put in, so they become lower quality people. They're basically stacking the deck against themselves on an almost constant basis.
Oh dear.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people there who have been there. A lot of the people who are there have been there longer, up to sort of like the hirings that happened in my particular year ago are all very qualified people with a lot of potential to become extremely skilled at their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that have been hired since are,
not
relatively speaking, trash. They're just people who are filling space, pretty much. And, they can be trained eventually to do the job competently. But it sort of speaks to the caliber of people that they're interested in now, as opposed to before, where they were bringing in people who actually had some talent, as opposed to just the cheapest people they could find. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like they're getting themselves in trouble because people aren't going to invest themselves in doing well, because they're not going to be rewarded for it. And the signals that are sent by people hiring people onto the same pay tier as you, who are dramatically inferior, is just not. It doesn't make anybody think that they're valued at all. It makes people think they've been scammed instead. So, yeah, I think things are going downhill. We've lost a number of skilled staff, and I expect that we're going to lose more. So, yeah, and they aren't replacing them in an adept fashion. They're replacing them in an incompetent fashion, and it's not just the fault of the people being hired for not being very good. It's the fact that the training has gotten worse as well, and new trainers are not being trained. Just the people in charge are doing all of the training and not allowing anybody else to train. So basically, that means that the whole debacle has to be repeated every time there's a new hire. And the whole thing is like it's just bogged down in bureaucracy right now as well. The solution to everything seems to be to make a new form that has to be filled out.
Yep, that's a fairly common sign of the end.
So I don't know. It's everything's pretty rough. So a lot of people are now like bending towards my point of view, which is that this is a place to pad your CV until either you get sick of them or they get sick of you and then leave.
Whichever happens first, I guess.
Your career is dead in the water so long as you stay there, aside from the training that you can pick up there. So, yeah. Then that's where I'm at with the place, more or less. I'll use them until I have no use for them, because they can't make me want to invest myself. They act as if they don't want my input a lot of the time. Yeah. And then they give me lots of work, which sort of implies that they do, and then they don't give me any time to do it. It means it wasn't a responsibility to begin with. So, anyway, most of my scant free time has been spent trying to take what time I can to make the most of the half AP on Babylonia story quests for FGO. Which is basically everything has devolved down to you must rush through the story because you want the opportunity to participate in the Demon Pillar Grand Festival that's going to happen on the 20th.
The opening 12 hours where everybody's going to kill Barbados.
You say that, but the reality is that doesn't happen in practice.
I don't know how much HP they have or how the event even really works. I just see Reddit posting about it.
Have you ever participated in a raid event?
No.
Yeah. So what you notice in raid events is that nothing behaves the way that anybody predicts based on statistics. Ever. So for some reason, everybody forgets this completely. Like, it drops out of their brains in the lead up to a raid event. But the reality is during a raid event, everybody is pretty much sure that HP totals are dictated live by the people running the servers to ensure that that nothing too unpredictable happens. Because there are certain, like during Onigashima, there are certain Oni that, based on the team comp that are available for particular bosses, particularly the ones where Uriali is very, very effective, that boss should have imploded in like an hour. But based on the amount of damage I could do. And remember, my lineup was not good back then. I was in dire straits, but I was still able to do millions of damage with particular team comps against particular enemies. So if they were actually using real hit point totals, then the pattern at which the bosses would have gone down would have been completely different. So the truth is that we don't know what's actually going to happen when Babylonia's Demon Pillars are live and able to raid it, because what happens may entirely boil down to the dictates of what the people running the event want to see.
I was mostly just taking a jab at the Reddit because everybody's posting Barbados stuff.
Well, I mean, it's funny as a meme, but it just bears no connection to reality. Like, the meme is wrong, like, categorically. That's what Onigashima showed, because nothing worked the way people expected. Ones that were expected to die slowly died quickly, and ones that were expected to die quickly died slowly. And sometimes the HP just seemed to sort of freeze or drop all at once or whatever, depending on the pace that the event was, quote, supposed, unquote, to be going at. So there's clearly a map. There's clearly a roadmap that they want to see certain HP milestones cleared at certain times during the event to make sure that the pace goes the way they want. Because the way people are pumped for Solomon is, I would expect, if they were reflecting real data, the entire event would probably be over in a day or two. That would be it. So they don't want that, because they need the event to carry on and keep people occupied, get people thinking that, I would be able to do this just a little bit more effectively if I had Merlin, so I'll roll. That's what they want people to think. So they need the event to carry on, to give lots of people time to spend money on Saint Quartz so they can get Merlin. Like, I think that's what this event is really for.
It all comes
to
down
sell Merlins.
to sacrificing souls to the gacha.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what a gacha game does, right?
Yeah.
But that's their motivation for manipulating the anyway. So that's not out yet. That'll be out on the 20th, and since I'm not doing anything for Christmas, I'll probably spend my Christmas doing that sort of thing. So I am not ready for that. There is a big reward though, which is motivating me to try. So I've been sort of clearing through Babylonia like a few stages at a time in the evenings before I go to sleep, and I nearly fell asleep playing a couple of times. Because there's 30 Saint Quartz up for grabs if you can clear it before the 20th, and 30 Saint Quartz is not to be sneezed at. That is about as generous as we can ever expect Aniplex to be.
Yeah.
So
that's a free 10 pull. That's almost Idaru tier giveaway stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sort of like that it's linked to a milestone, a time milestone, so that I am motivated to like, oh well, normally I drag my heels a huge amount when it comes to clearing story events, but
normally there's no
I've got a
reason to rush.
But the thing is that this story lends itself really well to rushing.
Mm-hmm.
The conjunction of a time pressure component to the game experience because of the event, because Solomon is coming, actually synergizes extremely well with the story structure. It's a very, very, I don't know if it's accidental. There's a good chance that it is, but I think that it works really, really well. That sense of impending end that leads to haste in the way you do things. It works quite well with the story. And the story itself, I have been genuinely quite impressed by. It's very classic JRPG in structure in lots and lots of ways. All the classic beats are there, right up to changing the music for the overworld map when everything goes to crap and the cosmic horrors start pouring out. Everything is very classic, but it's executed quite well for what is basically a visual novel. And the battles have been, kicking me in the balls, but I've been muddling my way through them. Everybody says that if you've got Herc, it's just a cheat code for Babylonia, and if you have any trouble with the Herc, you're doing it wrong. But I haven't used any Hercs. I was very, very tempted a couple times, but this is no. I'm going to do this.
Mine's sitting on your support list with his Bond C. He's got one Grail in him now.
I've got a couple of them. I've got a couple of people on my friends list with that have that up at the moment. It's probably because he's so effective for Babylonia, and everybody's pushing Babylonia. But yeah, I've been game overed once. I've been beaten in battle once, and that was because I made a completely, utterly, absurdly cavalier and reckless decision that I deserved to get wrecked for. I didn't calculate the damage ahead of time properly. I just thought, yeah, it'll be fine, and it wasn't fine.
Nope.
It was very not fine. And
Yeah.
I did withdraw from one battle so far because I just didn't like the team that I'd taken. I decided, you know what, I could spend half an hour trying to salvage this, or I could just withdraw, which, you know, at the cost of 11 AP, this doesn't matter. I withdrew for one because I just didn't like the team I had. So,
Yeah.
you can count that as a loss if you want. But overall, I think I'm doing pretty well considering, although I've taken the scenic route a few times. Like I've taken full stall twice to 2 different bosses, which meant that I finished with everybody on 100% health, but also in addition to that, it kind of took 40 odd turns for me to finish those fights. So yeah, when you don't have power, you've got to make do with guts. So in some cases, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gut spam.
I don't know what's going on with FGO at the moment. Everything seems to be, you know, lucha themed.
Yeah.
Oh. Luchasis.
Lucha.
It's not just that. The Japanese Christmas event is lucha themed.
I wonder if they knew NA got Babylonia and they had some communication over the pond to make
They
the
They
newest
do
event.
have communication. I don't know if that was deliberate, but what I do know is that you cannot scratch your backside in NA without informing your superiors in JP first.
Yeah.
They have an iron grip of control over what NA does.
But
Which
yeah.
is why the only real NA specific event that has ever been done is that Thanksgiving promotion that was this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they basically there's no authority to do anything else.
But yeah, if you go anywhere in the Reddit right now, Luchasis is everywhere. Like,
Which I'm quite glad about because Consort U is the most spoilerific servant to ever have been released, and it's furiously difficult avoiding further spoilers than I've already been spoiled.
I got bought by the picture.
And yeah, the only advantage is that anytime somebody tries to post about her, it devolves into an Abbott and Costello skit almost instantly.
No spoilers for you.
I went to the servant page
For me?
I went
For
to
anyone.
no.
Well, I was trying to do the skit.
Oh, but yeah, I just went to the servant page on the wiki to look up something for, I think, Cleo or something.
Don't do it!
And just went there to click on her picture like I normally do, and saw the picture of her, and I'm like, crap. I probably wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together if people hadn't been making such a big deal about it being spoilers, but I don't think that was a good servant decision to make something that spoilery an actual servant.
Well, the other thing is that she is the worst servant that has been released in months in terms of practical use. Like, she's got absolutely excellent skills in Noble Phantasm, but her stats are so staggeringly poor that you would never dream of actually attempting to use her.
Doesn't her Noble Phantasm also eat her buffs?
Yeah, that's the thing. The Noble Phantasm is fine when viewed as a what is the way you say it, in a vacuum. The Noble Phantasm is fine in a vacuum. Her skills are fine in a vacuum. You can't glue this servant together, though. They're like a whole set of ideas that are all great, stuck together on one servant with bad stats. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. She's awful. She's like the opposite. She's the opposite of First Emperor, who is like the single most powerful servant in the ruler class by a margin that is quite impressive. So, yeah. In fact, I think that First Emperor is too powerful. The fact that he makes John almost redundant means that he's too powerful. I hate when I think in an ideal world there would be no S tier servant. Because S tier in this type of game means a servant that it does not matter what they are fighting or what team they are in, they are still good. I don't think servants like that should exist. Period. You should always have to think about who a servant's teammates are and what the opponent is. If you don't, then too hard.
What's the point?
But you've got your Waver and your Merlin and your and this now First Emperor. These top tier servants, they overpower whatever team you stick in. It's just that's the way of things. Oh well, you can't have everything. But yeah, the story has been great. I can't wait to see it be fully animated. It has lots of really super dramatic beats. It has lots of stuff that has made me just absolutely laugh out loud at its absurdity.
Lucha.
It has Ishtar being made to stand in a corner holding a clay tablet with
the Whack-a-Benkei.
Huh?
The Whack-a-Mole Benkei.
Oh yeah, well I suppose there's that as well. But there are a couple of moments I can't spoil them because I want them to be experienced firsthand at how things can take such sudden turns from serious to redonkulous.
Yeah, this was actually... There was a couple of moments that I really liked like that, but a lot of them just gave me mood whiplash harder than anything else I've read.
I didn't think that it was a problem. I'm fairly inured to it by now. It's sort of what I expect from FGO. They usually keep things. I don't think that they actually whiplash that hard. Like most of the times, I've seen that the story is rounding a corner in advance, so that I know that the mood is about to change, that things are about to go silly.
Yes.
But I particularly enjoyed this screenshot because it resonates quite well with the memes that you see. But visual.
Hey, she's getting used right now while I'm farming feathers during the show.
Visual gags.
Oh,
yeah, so it's just a screenshot of the scene where you've got Ishtar and her dialogue box this has in brackets, which usually means an action that's taking place. It says made to stand holding a clay tablet that reads worst goddess. Like I've really enjoyed everybody's constant ragging on Ishtar because she's so high-handed when you first meet her. But, yeah, a lot of things in the story are very, very fun. And the story has managed to convey a sense of urgency and gravitas that has only been matched by Camelot. And I think that it's a very worthy successor in tone, since Camelot was a lot about specifics and ideals. It was a climbing a mountain sort of story. And Babylonia is basically about the end of the world and finding value in what you do, sort of thing. So it approaches that heroic arc from the opposite direction. Been a very good story arc. Good story arc. It's no wonder people approve of it. I'm looking forward to seeing everything come to a climax. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still good ways away from finishing yet because I have to spend a lot of time planning each battle in order to not die. Well, I did spend an absurd amount of time planning the battle against 6 berserkers, and I managed to clear that without taking any hits. So, yeah, I'm usually not satisfied unless I can clear a fight without losing anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Unfortunately, the AI is very, very vicious this time. It's gotten more and more focused on picking out your weak point and obliterating it. At least I feel that that's the case compared to earlier on. That the AI's gotten more malicious, and people have mined out the AIs for certain bosses and found that yes, in fact, they are inclined in certain ways. But yeah,
there's also in this chapter you are heavily encouraged to use some of the story supports for some missions and bosses in particular.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing worth mentioning is if you're asked a question and you are pretty sure you're going to fight something soon, it's almost always the second option that's better. Pick the second option unless you want to get sodomized.
Yeah, so
I just
that's
went with my gut and answered honestly with all of them.
that's
I apparently took the easy route for when you have to make fun of Ishtar.
But everybody does. Like I don't see why anybody wouldn't take the opportunity to make fun of it. Though that said, I looked up the fights that I didn't do, and most of them aren't that. It's just an incremental difference. It would probably make things quite a bit for a stronger team. But
yeah,
the big one, of course, the Luchador Grand Finale makes a huge difference what you pick. If you pick the wrong one there, people say that it's almost not able to be done unless you've got specific servants to help you.
Unless you have Herc.
Yeah,
you can destroy that fight with Herc. I've seen people say that you can solo that fight with Herc, even though it's probably the most stringent fight in the chapter as far as requirements go.
I had to bop her down about 100k before Herc came in to save the day.
I fought her face to face, beat her without losing any servants. I think I used a normal team that was just calibrated to take advantage of what minimal advantages I could grab, and basically Punch Saint has saved the day over and over again. Punch Saint has punched pretty much everything in Mesopotamia at this point, and there has been nothing left unpunched.
If you have an anti-divine servant of any kind, your life's going to be a lot easier in Babylonia.
Yeah, and Punch Saint is my solution.
Yeah, my ace in the hole that pretty much trivialized the whole thing was Skaha.
Well, I will say this, Punch Saint doesn't trivialize anything, since she almost never has any kind of advantage.
Oh, that's a nice help point you got there, boss. Let's take 300k away from it.
But the thing with Punch Saint is that she's unkillable.
Yeah.
So
when in doubt, punch the Tarrasque.
Yeah, just punching. Punching has got me thus far. Punching seems to be the order of the day at the moment. It's been I am glad that I made that arbitrary and sudden decision to give her a pair of Grails and 10-10-10 because it has paid off in spades. I did not expect it, but it has really, really worked well for me.
Yeah. You're gonna want to if you don't have great servants, you're gonna want to borrow Herc, Skahaz, Punch Saints, Mudboy, anybody that's anti-divine for this place.
Yeah, well, it is the age of the gods. Everything's divine.
Yeah.
So hit it. But yeah, and I'm very, very envious that Japan has just gotten a update to Rider Martha's animations, which are now gorgeous.
Yes.
And have even more Tarrasque, who is for once not being abused.
Poor Tarrasque-kun. Yes. I felt bad for him in the Christmas event. They were trying to eat him.
Well, he does look like a turtle.
He does kind of look like a turtle.
Yeah.
Giant monster turtle.
So, yeah, Babylonia, great. Can't wait for the anime. It's going to be lots of cool stuff.
Lots of shouting.
They do make you feel feels once in a while, much like Camelot does. Good story. Enjoying it. I hope that they can keep things to this standard. I haven't seen anybody come out with complaints about future stories the way they did about Septim. But
I've heard a lot of people like the next sub-singularity coming out even more than the last two, but it's a hit and miss thing with people. Not everybody's unanimous in that opinion.
Yeah, well, the interlude is the 1.5 arc is kind of out of character compared to the usual way of doing things. Like it's not. I think that the people that don't like it probably don't like it because it's a sort of a change of direction for a while. They got so used to the singularities that changing the direction of the story is a little bit, it's a little bit of an ask, jarring. I don't know if that necessarily actually speaks to the quality of the stories themselves, so I'll have to wait and see.
The real question is, during Lucius's fight, did you go full ham or did you yell at Ishtar? That's a tough choice.
I went full ham. I don't think that's a tough choice at all. Like, if you're involved in Lucha, full ham is the only option.
If you're not hamming in Lucha, then you're doing it wrong.
Lucha and ham are one and the same. You must ham. You must scream for justice. There is no option.
For the glory of the mask.
You can... Yeah. Oh boy. Everything about Luchasis is ridiculous in that chapter.
I tried for her on the gacha. The gacha said no.
The gacha often says no.
The gacha,
The gacha almost always says no.
The gacha really hates.
I threw some tickets at that banner. I'm not going to tell Vol what I got.
Yeah,
because he'll get mad.
Yes, he would. But I did a 10 drop and I got garbage. Also wrong.
I don't actually get mad at you getting these things. I get mad that you don't seem to appreciate it at all. Like you just like, oh well, that's run of the mill. This is what I'm entitled to because I'm awesome. That's your attitude to it.
I get excited whenever it happens because it's supposed to be rare.
It's not supposed to happen, especially with that regularity.
No, you don't. Your level of excitement does not map onto normal people. Like it's just completely. You're completely blasé about it.
I don't know.
Dear.
I think judging people's excitement levels over a gacha is a little silly. But no, I did pull Gorgon from it. So
it's a good thing she's really bad. I would be a lot more disappointed I didn't get her if she was actually good as well. But no.
No, she's just bad.
I like Medusa and Fate Stay Night, so I wanted either Chibi Medusa or Gorgon. And I rolled for Chibi Medusa as well. And then I just blew the rest of my tickets I had at the Gorgon Luchasis banner and got Gorgon. I didn't get Chibi Medusa though.
If I get Gorgon at some point in the future, then that would be great because I don't have an Avenger. Not all of us just roll Jolta because we want her. So
Abog just got Helena on a YOLO solo.
Erg.
Well, I mean, he does live near you, so he's probably gets caught in the radiation. So
he got another 4-star on a YOLO solo today earlier too.
I got one once. That was how I got Ryder Martha.
Oh, I completely just said screw it and finally pulled up Ryder Martha to 80. She's been sitting in the Closet Chaos bin needing to be rescinded forever.
Why would you? She's awesome. I use her all the time.
Yeah, and we have the Solomon event coming up, and I need to get rid of debuffs and buffs, and she is the best option for that.
Well,
even if she just stays in the front line and then you switch her out.
Amakusa is, but not everybody's that blessed. But,
yeah, there's a limited amount of quartz I can spend my luck on.
I spent a lot of tickets. There's a strengthening quest coming down the pipe in about 10 months for Martha, which will make her actually able to do damage. That will also be. But
she hits like a wet noodle still, even at level 80 with half.
Yeah, there really aren't that many servants that do as little damage as she does. I think that's why they gave her a strengthening quest later that we don't have yet, the one that improves her Noble Phantasm damage. And I think that the reasoning for that is it feels like they've abandoned her design in the sense that they don't do servants that have Noble Phantasms that do damage that's trivial anymore. If they do damage, then the damage is intended to like be damage. It should move the needle at least. But back then there were servants that had Noble Phantasms that, you know, the damage was laughable. Like you're not even going to make it to the 5-figure mark. It's painful. And then, you know, there's also Geronimo. But yeah,
who is just utter garbage.
Yeah, the only person who invokes the phrase slightly heavy damage. But yeah. What else did I do during the week? I feel like there were a few things, but can't really call them to mind. Probably because I just didn't have much time. I was very tired all week. Nice. Mainly because I had to run all over the lab finding people to talk to about various things. Well, normally talk to. Okay. Usually not you. I might have to yell at some people coming. Yeah. I guess I haven't noted very carefully what I've done during the week. It's all sort of a blur. I'm in this sort of weird state between the week is really, really fast and the week is really, really slow. I can't remember what things happened last week at all, as if it was years ago, and yet it seems like I blink and another week is gone. So not really sure how to process that. This must be another getting old thing.
This is a getting a job thing, mostly. Blob weeks happen.
Yeah, and with irritating regularity, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've had these ever since I was 16 and had a job. It just comes with having a job.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of jobs before, but it didn't bite down quite to this extent. But I'll just leave it there. I can't. I feel like I did other things, but they were clearly not important enough for them to leave any kind of mark in my memory. So I just won't bother to say anymore.
Okay. So do we want to go to a break now, or go ahead and do my week and then go to a break?
No, might as well take a break now.
All right, we're at an hour, so we'll be right back after some music, folks. And we're back.
Yes, indeedy. So, yeah, we're just talking about Ari's S rank luck during the break, so nothing new there.
Yeah. If there is an extreme example of something, it will happen every time.
It's not supposed to.
If there's
Except
something...
bad luck never happens to you, you only pretend that it...
Yeah, no.
No, we've seen plenty of that S rank luck backfiring.
Yeah. Mostly backfires at work.
Yeah.
It's not
But-
luck. It's just because you happen to work with bad people. It's nothing to do with luck.
But anyway, philosophies on luck aside, we were at Vols week, I think, when we went to a break.
Your week, actually.
No, like I said, I can't think of what else I did. I spent most of my free time asleep, trying to catch up on sleep. It doesn't seem to be working very well.
Nah,
Okay.
tends not to.
Well, I guess we'll do my week then. And since we didn't do weeks the week before, that was when I did Babylonia. I did it on my 2 days I had the most free time and just did it in a blitz. And got through the whole story. And we talked about Babylonia enough already, so I won't keep going on that. But the overall opinion of it was pretty good. I liked it. I had a lot of mood whiplash problems with it that Vol didn't seem to have. But
I don't even
think-
understand how you can have mood whiplash problems if you've been a fan of Fate for any length of time.
I think it was just playing back-to-back chapters nonstop for 2 days.
That'd probably do it.
That's not mood whiplash, that's just fatigue.
But yeah, that was my only possible real complaint about Babylonia as far as it went. The rest of the aspects of it are pretty good. We already covered most of it in Vol Sweep, so I don't need to go back on about that. And the other thing I did was pick up Smash Ultimate
Yes.
at Walmart.
Boo. Don't go to Walmart. Have
Doesn't
some
have any
respect,
Fate
sir.
characters in it. Not going to buy it.
I was on the fence about it, and then at the Game Awards, Sona and Smash. I'm like, I'm done. I'm
Yep.
buying this game eventually. And I happened to be in Walmart the next day. I'm like, well, why not?
Hey, look,
Pick
it's
up
a AAA game that did not immediately go on sale. I forgot what those look
Yeah,
like.
Nevertheless, it's a game that I haven't played, and yet I'm already sick of it because there has been nothing else on social media for days.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I think I just
it's-
gave up on social media entirely. Aside from the fact that it is a societal cancer.
Closest thing I get to social media is the occasional subreddit. But yeah, so I spent basically all my free time this week just doing the single player in Smash.
Yep, as did I.
I heard
So-
they just nerfed the crap out of it or something.
Not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by nerf the crap out of it.
Like they made unlocking everything super easy.
Oh
Well-
yeah, it's on a timer now instead of matches played. Like there's a interval timer between when you can be challenged by dudes instead of having to play 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, etc. matches.
Yeah.
But you can also get them the normal way in story mode by playing through the big giant adventure map, which we'll get the good out of the way first because I'm going to have a lot of stuff to rag on with this game that other people just aren't bringing up because it's Smash.
Mm.
But
When you say something bad about Smash, the lunatics who like Smash might come after you.
Yeah, well-
Kill you.
they can come to my house if they...
If there's one thing we know, it's that Smash players attempt to actually kill their opponents IRL.
Yeah, the
We
Taco
have
Bell
seen
incident was a
that,
thing,
yes.
I suppose.
Yes.
I keep forgetting the Taco Bell incident was a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll do the good first. The story mode is, this time, there isn't so much a story as a giant world map
Mm-hmm.
that you run around and do Super Smash Bros. Melee style event missions. There are 615 of these things.
Yeah. If anyone's interested, as far as the story goes, that intro movie that they showed before the game's launch with everyone getting laser beamed, that's
Except
it. That's the
Kirby.
story. Except for Kirby.
Yeah.
That's the
Everybody's
story.
acting like spoilers are a big deal here. I'm like,
Eh,
what's to spoil? There's no story.
I thought the story was about a kid playing with his toys.
it was kind of.
I thought that was the meta narrative. I'm not sure if that was ever the story. But the story of Smash 4 is light and darkness in air quotes are fighting each other. They have a big boss. Go punch the bosses.
Everyone,
Punch them
It's
both.
even more banal than Final Fantasy.
Punch them both
the
within
severe
10
one.
seconds of each other to get the true ending. That's how it works.
See, that's spoilers. That's about as spoilery as it gets.
But what did I spoil? That there is a boss
No, that's
at
what
the
I
end
mean.
of story mode?
That's the biggest spoiler for the game.
Yeah, there's nothing to spoil. So
Yeah.
I don't know why people are so uppity about spoilers. But the event matches themselves are fun. A lot of them, as long as you set your difficulty appropriately and set your power level appropriate to the enemy so that you get maximum rewards when you finish the fight, a lot of them are actually fun and can be fairly challenging if you want them to be.
Some of them are just cheaty jerk faces.
Some of them are just poorly designed garbage that you just pick the start with giant activated for 12 seconds and just do 2 smashes and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them that are legitimately fun. A lot of them not so much.
Yeah.
It's really hit and miss with these missions, but there's a lot of them, and the ones that are not very fun to do are over in 2 seconds because you can cheese them.
Yeah.
With every single character in the game.
There are some that are easier to cheese than others. Like there's a few which it's like you can't jump, your enemy has super armor and a buttload of hit points, and it's a stamina match. Enjoy.
Yeah, come back with a higher power spirit.
I've
Pretty
seen
much.
lots of people. I've seen people talking about challenges suiciding themselves.
Yeah, I've run
Yeah.
into that a couple of times, particularly with metal characters.
Heavier characters or characters that have more gravity on them behave like they would normally as though they didn't have heavy gravity
Yeah.
when the AI controls them.
Oh, so they just don't know how to recover at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They try to recover
So-
as if the gravity was normal, and it just fails.
So, like, there's usually the first hard roadblock you'll run into in story mode is a giant stamina battle with Ganondorf when he hits really hard and has super armor, and it's in the Street Fighter world. And
Hmm.
this guy is really tough, and the only way I beat him before I had OP spirits was to use Kirby to float underneath the ledge and trick his AI into trying to come and get me,
Okay.
and then spike him down off the edge. It was the only way I could beat him, and you're not supposed to win by ring out and stamina matches.
No, you're not.
But the AI is stupid enough to follow you under the screen, and sometimes it'll just outright kill itself because it just decides it's seen too much of the world.
It's had enough.
And
It just
it's-
wants out.
It's just done. Yeah, the AI can derp it up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Even on cruel mode in the cruel melee, the AI will just kill itself sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Smash AI is still Smash AI. It's still bad.
Yeah, it's still wonky. But
Well,
other than,
it's not supposed to be a real fighter, and I'm only saying that to offend Smash.
well, it's not
But
really.
yeah.
It's more of a party game.
Yeah, you just offended more people.
I know,
because
right?
there are lots of people who are absolutely adamant that Smash is like the most serious business, complex, and deep fighting game out.
Do we need to put a trigger
Yeah.
warning on this episode?
We don't do trigger warnings.
I know,
I don't
right?
believe in them.
Not unironically, anyway. So
Yeah. But
so
But,
the story mode it's fun, but yeah, it gets a bit grindy. I found.
it can be, but
Yeah.
none of the you don't need to like finish your spirit collection for any of the trophies, air quote trophies in the game. The challenges you only need 777 out of like that's not even half of them, I think.
There's about 1,200, I think.
Okay, so a little over half of them, which doesn't take that long. There's 615 nodes in the story, so you'll get most of them just doing that if you 100% the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, story mode is going to be mostly filler fights that take 2 seconds, where you spend more time on the loading screen than actually fighting. And a few of the nodes are worth playing through because they're actually fun.
Yeah.
But most of them are not. But because there are so many dang nodes, despite the fact that they can be quite a ways away on the map, like 3 or 4 spaces between hitting a decent and fun node, that still translates into about 200 nodes that are fun to play.
Yeah.
And about 415 filler nodes.
Yeah, but again,
Where
the filler
just
nodes are just, they're over, they're one, done, quick, finished.
Yeah, they take at maximum 15 seconds to go in there with something cheesy. There's a billion cheese strats and just beat it.
I just do it with overwhelming power.
Yeah, that's generally what you do. You just go. The most common one, and the one I used was equip a spirit that starts you with the giant status from the mushroom for 12 seconds, and equip it with smash power up and special attack up, and then just go do 2 smash attacks and kick whatever it is off the stage.
Yep.
But yeah, so they have this mechanic where every single node gives you a thing called a spirit, which are the replacement for trophies from the old Smash games. And these things have stats or effects on them that you can apply to your fighter in story mode. So it's really weird at first because they don't explain it very well.
Yeah.
But basically, every spirit has a base power value. It has an attack value and a defense value. Your attack and defense are compared to your opponent's. However much more attack you have than their defense is how much translates into a percentage of bonus damage that is not insignificant. We're talking like I can do like 800% damage to somebody that has a sub-level 1000 spirit with a fully charged up smash.
Yep.
If they just have a spirit with next to no defense because they're somebody at the start on New Game Plus or something. So spirit power is important. You need to level up these spirits to keep their power big enough to keep progressing in story mode until you get the really big boys that are going to carry you the rest of the way, like Piranha Plant or something.
Yeah.
In addition to that, these big spirits have slots for smaller spirits that are passive effects that get added onto the stats and whatever effect the big spirit may or may not have. So you can equip little effects that either remove stage hazards, like the incredibly obnoxious strong winds that will stop you from advancing in a certain direction if you don't have the counter equipped, to earthquakes that if you're touching the ground will randomly trip you. Well, not randomly. They will trip you 3 times over the course of like 4 seconds, every 12 seconds or something stupid like that. But yeah, to get around these hazards, you equip the appropriate support spirit to the big spirit and it will go away. And if you do not need something to get rid of a hazard, you equip stuff like Hyper Smash that lets you have super armor while charging your smash for 2 hits. So you have to be hit 3 times to get knocked out of your smash attack.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it was tailor-made for Captain Falcon.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Ganondorf's Falcon Punch version actually is 100% super armored the entire time now, unless it gets hit by something with a meteor effect.
Yeah, you got to hit him really hard to knock him out of it now.
Yeah, they've done a lot of balance buffs for some of the garbage tier characters.
Yeah, some
You need to keep in mind. The last time I played Smash Brothers, it was called Super Smash Brothers 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played Melee. I had Brawl, but I never played it. I think I ran through Subspace Emissary once. And
I played all of them.
I got Smash 4, but it was on the Wii U, so I never played it.
Yeah.
I played it, but then I put it down after a week.
It's a shame. I like Subspace Emissary as a story. Well, not necessarily as a story, as a spectacle.
As
look
a
at all
fun
this crossing
single player
over we're
romp.
doing.
Yeah, as a fun single player romp in that style of game, sure. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But adventure mode, or the current World of Light / Spirits mode, whatever they're calling it now, it's called like 5 different things online. It's Spirits mode or World of Light or something like that. It is the replacement for Subspace Emissary, and it's not as good because I think it's a lot more grindy for one, and it's basically a glorified list of event missions that you can cheese more than half of. But for having no single player in Smash 4 to going back to at least having this, that's okay.
That's a nice step forward, yeah.
It's going to take you about 30 hours to clear this thing, by the way, if you're 100%ing it and you're doing it blind. If you don't have a clue where everything is or what you're doing, and you're figuring out all the system mechanics out on the fly, it took me about 25 hours. So it's going to take you a while to get through it.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time killer. It was Smash. If you like playing Smash single player, it's what it's there for. And all the other modes are there too. Classic mode's back, all the special smashes with the billion dudes and the cruel smash and all that's back.
Yeah.
So
you can digging into the classic modes, and I like it how every character now has their own little sequence that they do based around a particular theme.
Yeah, they have each character in Classic Smash has their own route they go through. So it has its own enemies, its own special challenges, and sometimes its own boss at the end.
Yeah, like Kirby fights Marx, who is the big boss of the newest game. It's actually kind of refreshing that Kirby has the Eldritch Horror on the front, out in the open this time, though.
No, I think what you really need to do is go and beat up King Dedede.
Just go knock his house over because reasons.
Well, he's King Dedede.
Kirby does fight DDD in his sequence, though.
Not because Dedede did anything wrong.
No, DDD never does anything wrong for the most part. He's kind of a jerk, but he doesn't actually do anything. But yeah, some of them are fun, and some of them make sense. Like Peach she just travels the world and beats up the bosses, the bad guys.
Yeah, Richter's
Bowser,
is
Bowser. I
all
think
references.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bowser, I think, was one of the sillier ones. He just fights everyone who's in red. So it's like he's fighting Mii's wearing Mario hats, and then Shulk, and then Rathalos, because why not?
Yeah, Rathalos is a boss in the game, by the way.
Yeah. His final boss
As
is
why?
Mario, of course. I'm actually going to
He's
give
actually-
him a credit here. Fighting the Rathalos in Smash is pretty fun. It feels like fighting a Rathalos using Smash mechanics.
That's because it can only stay in the air for a maximum 8 seconds before it has to land again.
Well, yeah, you don't need to spend half the fight just chasing him around wondering where he's going to land, but...
I like how in the boss fight in the story mode they give you pit traps to throw around the map
and
to catch him
DQ
in.
seeds. You hit him in the face with a DQ seed and stun him.
Yeah, so whatever the flashbang grenades were in Monster Hunter World, they give you those to use on the boss or the equivalent in Smash.
Yeah, you can't cut his tail though.
It's okay.
Yeah,
We'll take that. It's pretty faithful to paying homage to Monster Hunter, and they do this. I noticed this with a lot of the Castlevania classic stuff. Like the classic mode for Simon is parodies of the bosses from the OG Castlevania games.
Oh, nice.
Like they have one giant character with a sickly green color. I forget who it was. And itty bitty guy for the Frankenstein and the Flea Man boss to represent that. They have Wolf as the Wolfman.
Of course,
and stuff like that. So they reference bosses in the Castlevania games by adapting the current fighter roster to fill their role.
Yeah,
I thought that was cute.
They do a lot of that with the spirits as well.
Yeah,
which is always kind of fun, especially some of the sillier ones. And then you got Dr. Wily, who's just a jerk.
Yeah. Dr. Wily's fight is probably the hardest mode in Spirit Mode by far. I beat it when I got to it without grinding up spirits by sitting there and figuring out just how am I going to get this AI in a loop, because there's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
You have 120 HP and you have to fight 8 Metal Mega Men with 128. Yeah, with 120 HP each. Yeah. And then you have to beat the boss. If the first few times you try it, you're going to wonder how you can even beat one Mega Man.
Yeah. So yeah, you fight Wily's 8 robot masters, and then you fight Wily, who is a Dr. Mario.
Yeah. But yeah, that is easily the hardest spirit in the game.
Yeah.
Which eventually I figured out how to do sword loops in this game and barely pulled it out with a lot of practice.
I've still got to go back and fight Sagat, because Sagat is an annoying fight. He has super armor, and then he just becomes that guy.
Yeah, any of the super armor enemies, just get him off the edge and spike them. It's the easiest way to deal with them.
Yeah. Well, you leave Sagat alone, and ironically, he plays Ryu, because of course he does. But he'll just stand back and spam Hadoukens, and that's all he does.
Yeah, there's a support spirit that lets you reflect projectiles automatically, by the way, for the first 30 seconds of the fight.
The Franklin badge ones.
Yeah, so just get one of those and then go laugh at him.
Yeah. So, in terms of character playability, I think they've done a really good job improving a lot of the old garbage characters.
Yeah, the Garbo tier has been fixed up pretty well.
The YouTube front page has been going bonkers with people making videos of tier lists.
Oh yeah, and they're all wrong.
Yeah, they're all going to be wrong in 3 days anyway. And that he'll change every single day for 3 months.
Yeah. They've done...
And even then they're usually wrong.
Yeah. Like they've done things like they've reduced landing lag globally now. So a lot of the bigger characters would you'd jump, you'd land, and then there'd be a half-second delay or something before that you could actually do anything again.
Yeah.
That's universally.
What? Whose idea was that?
They just made the animation where the character would go from the landing, their muscles crouching, to standing back up, be a state where they were vulnerable before.
Mm-hmm.
And it took not too terribly long, but the heavier characters did have more frames in getting up from that animation. And that meant that the shorter characters could attack faster if you both hit the ground at the same time, which means you're getting a quick smash to the face.
Yep.
So overall, they've increased mobility and recovery speed a lot in this game. It's easily the most obvious change to the game.
The whole game just plays a lot faster than previous Smashes in general.
It doesn't feel like a lightning fast upgrade. It just feels like they've tweaked a bunch of archaic mechanics to not be there.
Yeah.
Has the general reaction to that been positive or negative?
Very positive.
I don't know.
From what I can tell.
I have stayed away from the Die Hard Smash community while I've been playing Smash.
Well, I'm not talking about the Die Hard Smash community. They're never happy with anything.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like most people who actually play video games and
normal
don't
people
worship them instead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, among normal people, it's been pretty positive.
It's small enough that I think the normie won't notice, but it's big enough that people that play video games regularly will see or at least feel some kind of improvement.
Yep. Trash tier characters before have been, in general, gotten a lot of love, and a couple of regular non-trashy ones as well.
Even some of the air quote top tiers from MLG Swag Play have gotten a lot of love, where they've got just a whole lot of things to make them easier to play casually.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
did this game mature from the Fox is the only good character state that it was in way back?
Oh yeah,
in Melee, yeah. But like for instance, Sheik used to be a top tier exclusive character. If you weren't MLG Swag Pro, don't play Sheik. But they've added a lot of properties to her moves, where like her forward smash now has a quick, fast hit in the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody that would normally, like in a pro situation, you're not gonna be in any position where this extra little kick is gonna do anything. But in a casual match where your friends are just running up doing dash attacks at you, you have a little bit of protection and can actually use her forward smash now without being super perfect with the timing. Because you have a hitbox out before the big mega hit comes out.
Yeah. Like some characters it's very subtle. Other characters like Zelda she's gotten a massive overhaul. And then Ganondorf. Ganondorf is an absolute monster now.
Ganondorf might as well be a new character.
Yeah.
Well, he would lose in a race against Glacier last time
Yes. He's a lot faster now.
He's more than a slow Captain Falcon now. A lot more. They have changed all of his smash attacks to not be simple punches that mirror Captain Falcon's, to him pulling out this giant honking stone, like giant claymore looking thing.
Yes.
It's basically
a
just
classic Ganon weapon.
Yeah, just a chunk of rock, sword. Basically, that's huge. And he just clubs people with it. It's got a huge arc and a huge range.
Berserker Hercules.
Yeah. It's not like Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf, where he wields two of the things, but close enough.
Well, it's Smash. You aren't taking yourself serious, so you only hit people with one huge chunk of rock.
He's not actually trying to KO them properly.
Yeah. So they gave his Falcon Punch equivalent complete invincibility. Effectively, you're not going to get hit with an attack strong enough to knock you out of it in time.
Yeah.
To interrupt the animation, unless somebody already was charging one and for some reason you started doing your attack in front of them.
He was always the character I played in Melee, because for some reason I always end up picking characters that are peasant tier.
Yeah, I admit I played a lot of DDD in both Melee, in Brawl and 4. He's gotten a lot of love as well.
From everybody but Kirby.
Because Kirby's a jerk like that, yes.
Yeah. I picked Kirby, A, because he's the only character unlocked at the Star Story mode, and B, I played him in N64. So I knew what I was doing with him, kind of. And his moveset's mostly stayed the same.
Yeah, Kirby hasn't changed a whole lot over the years.
So he still turns into a rock?
He turns into all sorts of things now.
Well, he's always turned into all sorts of things since Melee, but yeah, he turns into a thwomp, and a spike ball, and a rock.
A treasure chest.
And a treasure chest, bunch of other silly stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, and the strat is still to hey with your sword over and over again, and then drop on their head with a rock.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing, I'm really, really happy with it. I think they've done a really good job of bringing that game up, and every character is, if not necessarily fully competitive, at least somewhat viable now. I'm not going to get into the minutiae because I don't know what I'm talking about there, but every character feels fun.
Every character feels playable in a casual environment, perfectly okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to get dunked on just for picking a character.
Yeah, not like old school Ganondorf.
All this happy stuff we've said about the game,
yeah, it's got some
only applies to local play and single player.
Oh boy, yeah.
Did the netcode beast rear its ugly head?
It did indeed.
Worse than we've seen in a long time, it has.
So Ari and I did a science yesterday. We connected and tried to play some Smash. I say tried.
For science!
For science. I say tried. We weren't overly successful. It involved most
I'm
of
not
us
sure
fighting each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you could call us doing was smashing. We were trying real hard.
Attacks.
Lots of them, in fact. But the connection between us was so bad, just from distance, and Nintendo's terrible netcode, it was a full 1.5 seconds delay between every action we took.
At worst,
worse than that first time you tried to get me to play Melty?
Yeah.
And
that's pretty bad.
It was easily some of the worst netcode I've ever seen.
Yeah, it improved as we went along. It kind of got down to about, 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, just south of a full second is considered a major improvement.
Yeah, so...
Man, it'd be like back in the day when I was playing World of Warcraft on a modem.
Dial up!
But yeah, we're sitting there. We're just trying to get anything to hit the other person.
Normally when I play Smash, I try and be a bit dodgy. That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Everybody should dodge. Like, dodging's a basic mechanic.
Like,
You're not going to dodge anything with a 1.5 seconds delay.
No. Like, my usual strategy for playing Mii Gunner is dodge roll behind them, forward smash, and that's usually a winning strategy for me. No, doesn't work.
Yeah, no. There is no such thing as a combo game. You can't even do a basic recovery move. Like, if you get kicked off the stage, you got 1.5 seconds before your jump's going to activate.
Yep.
Okay, so is this like a you Infern America Australia thing, or
yes,
is this banned locally as well?
This is just a distance thing. It's okay as long as the distance isn't too bad. But if I get matched up against somebody in matchmaking that has distance like that from me as well, like Fern does,
same thing.
It's just exact same thing or worse.
What if you tried to play against someone, say, in New York, who's like opposite end of your country? Do you see different distance lag there on that scale?
I feel what would be called normal lag in these type of games. Like, there's clearly some delay there, but it's manageable. Maybe 0.2 of a second. About what you expect in what I would call normal bad netcode. Like, that's still a full, 17 frames in a 60 FPS game. But, yeah.
Yeah.
This was something else. You had to play it and see it to believe it.
It was really, really bad.
Yeah. And I replicated this by going into multiplayer and connecting to other people intentionally that were very far away from me. And the exact same thing, or worse, happened. If it gets bad enough, the game will actually, in addition to having input lag in its netcode, have frame dropping and turn into a slideshow.
Oh my.
Where the entire 5-minute game took 20 minutes.
Good
gravy.
So, Nintendo, you charging me for your service now. Let's talk about how it's not worth it.
Alright, how about this? Nintendo...
Oh, right, they do that now, don't they?
Yes, they do. So, Nintendo, you've entered a contract with Atlas for Smash. There's something else you should probably be signing that contract for. It's called netcode.
Well, Arc System Works is the one that does that. But,
also,
yeah.
yes.
Even Capcom's netcode, which is workable. Capcom's netcode is considered the base standard as far as any type of game with,
By which you mean most mediocre.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
average, it's average.
It's
the standard,
so very average.
The standard slightly below average netcode is Capcom's. Theirs is like 10 times better than whatever the heck Nintendo's got.
Yeah.
Because there's also nothing you can do about distance. It just means you can't play with certain people.
Mm-hmm. Like I'd love to be able to play properly with Ari.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Well, see, the thing is, like, I have got a certain amount of nostalgia for Smash because I spent a colossal amount of time playing it on. But what you have just said basically means that it's a dead option for me to even.
Yeah, you and Fern could play with each other, but between y'all's two countries is about it.
I wouldn't guarantee it.
I wouldn't either.
Because traffic between Australia and New Zealand usually goes through China, Singapore, Indonesia, Korea, one of those Asian countries before it comes back. You have to basically get lucky in order for it to take the route directly to Australia.
Even for me, everything routes through Brisbane before it goes anywhere else.
But yeah. I am mostly mad at Nintendo for charging for this. If they're going to charge me and this is their first outing on you need to pay us to play online, I just paid you to give me a terrible product that doesn't work for some of my friends. Like, you have competitors, Nintendo. They can do it, and they're going to keep getting my money, and you're not. I'm not paying for this again.
Yep.
You had one shot, and you lost me as a customer because that netcode is awful.
You just need your RL friends to actually get better at playing the game so you can enjoy it properly.
Yeah, I did play a lot of local Smash this week. Played with my family because both my cousins and my sister got it.
Did you get yelled at for bullying?
I was playing the best character, which is random, so I was playing characters I didn't have a clue what they did.
I actually saw a good
and still
funny
wiping
one.
the floor with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to play your main if you are somebody that plays games against people that are casuals.
Nah. I admit I did have a look at some comments from some gameplay videos online on YouTube, and just the crying that people do. Like, the correct way to play DDD is to always keep a Gordo out at all times. But no,
The heck is a Gordo?
it's those spiky balls with eyes.
The incredibly obnoxious stage hazard he can throw on the field.
Yeah, but the correct way is to keep one moving at all times and control your opponent with it. You know, when you're not lagging horribly and you can actually control where they go.
Yeah, you're kind of shooting it off in left field while I'm flopping around somewhere in the air trying to get the angle right so I can actually hit you with something.
Well, all those times I was throwing Gordos when you were far away, I was trying to throw them upwards, because the new mechanic they added for DDD is allowing to inhale them and then fire them across the stage.
But as far as any onlooker could tell, you were doing competitive breakdancing in your own corners.
More or less, yeah.
It's okay, I was doing aerial cheerleading.
Yes. So, apparently, according to the pleb community, I guess, that's cheating. Playing DDD properly is cheating.
Where's the line between cheating and not cheating? What do you have to do to not cheat?
If I play Lucina, counter the thing and shoot it back at you, is that cheating?
Yes. Edge guarding is also cheating. Meteor attacks are also cheating.
Yeah, I've kept the mic on very low, playing through my speakers the few times I've gone online. And kids are funny.
Is this like how the Zergling Rush is a cheat?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's that tier. It's like basic mechanics that you need to know how to deal with in a game are not dealt with, and the kids will say it's cheating.
Yeah.
But kids in this game are hilarious because a lot of kids play this game, and if you keep your mic on, just turn the volume real low for the other guy's volume while they're playing, and just mute yourself and just listen to them flip out at you if they don't have a clue what they're doing. It's hilarious. They get so mad.
It's the wonderful, wonderful Smash Brothers Salt.
Yep. It's a Nintendo game. It's going to ruin your friendships and your family.
Oh,
and anybody else you play with. But yeah.
I did actually try that. I tried experimenting with that on Mario Kart. The blue shell on a child will guarantee you a scream.
Like an actual scream?
Yes, an actual
Like
scream.
full
with a microphone.
throated? Like you can see the little uvula thing jiggling in your mind's eye?
Yes. So keep the volume down low for that, by the way. Otherwise you'll blow out your ears.
Yeah.
Police will come.
And this is
I
why
have mindset.
this is why you never play Mario Kart with friends, by the way, because you won't have friends again.
Yeah, the only way you can survive a Mario Kart session with friends is cooperative Cup CC single player modes trying to get the gold cup by attacking the AI together.
Yeah.
Which is actually a lot of fun.
It is actually a lot of fun doing that, especially if you assign one person to win the race and the other person just to harass the AI.
Yeah, the other person becomes a person that runs the race backwards, acting as a turpet to kill everything.
then things get really silly.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, dearie me. So Smash is a thing. I would say it's as is with the netcode it's got. If you got friends outside of your local area, don't buy it.
Yeah. Like, Nintendo's always been the king of the couch co-op now, or couch gameplay.
That doesn't mean they have to be the jester of everything else.
Sadly, it seems to be going that way.
Yeah. If your friends that want to play Smash with you are more than like a region, like you can, like I can connect people in California and play okay. Any further than that, from Georgia to California, don't do it. And there's still noticeable lag when I hit the West Coasters.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hopefully,
but for local play, if your friends are local or you just want to play single player, I'd say might be worth $50, 40 maybe. I wouldn't buy this game at full price.
Well, let's be real though. Most of the people that buy this game are fanatics anyway, so they don't really care how much it costs.
Well, it also has a huge I'll pick it up on a whim market. According to my local GameStop,
that will be dependent on like what is whim price for.
Yeah.
That varies between people.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably keep playing it, but it sucks I can't play with certain people.
Yeah, like if they improve the netcode, I'll be happy to have another crack at it. But it's not a whole lot of point in us actually trying to do anything productive until that happens.
Yeah. No,
What's the netcode like on like their Mario Kart?
Mario Kart cheats with its netcode a lot.
Yeah, they don't need to actually have you interact with the players that much. Only the items they shoot.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a gravity pad, it doesn't take into account the other riders' actual positions. It sends ghost data back to your console of where they were a second ago.
Yeah, it'll update that when you're not looking at them.
Yeah. So
Right.
You're not actually racing against their model in the same server. You're playing on your local console, and they're being streamed some form of data to you.
Yeah.
Right. So what about their last iteration of Smash?
It was roughly
just
what
as
it is
bad.
now. Yeah.
So they're basically doing the same old.
Yep.
But
So we
charging
can-
money for it now.
So we can expect that there's not going to be.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
If I didn't have the caveat added to this whole last bit of the conversation about Smash with now they're charging money for it, I wouldn't care that much. It would just be I guess we just can't play this one. No. They're charging for this service now, and this service doesn't work.
Yeah. Like, granted, it is only a small amount, but that's not the point.
Yeah, it's like
They're charging at all for it.
like you buy a pair of toenail clippers from the dollar store instead of the $5 pair at Walmart, and it falls apart, and you wonder why.
Yeah. Like, and it's no good saying, well, they're also giving you these NES games. Like, yay, these games are 30 plus years old. Some of them 40.
And you can
until-
download them.
Yeah, and until this last year, you wanted to try and sell them to me for 20 a pop.
Yeah. Now they're just given to you
Like,
for free, which is at least a step forward.
Nintendo's understanding of the fact that things can be emulated extends as far as trying to sue the people that host those sites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have destroyed the livelihoods of a few people by, getting easy legal victories over, some random guy living in his house who's now going to spend the rest of his life paying millions of dollars worth of legal debt.
Yeah.
And this is positive PR for Nintendo because they're basically untouchable, so it doesn't affect them.
So Nintendo, I love you, but come on.
Nintendo, I don't particularly love you, and you're really not helping me do so.
Yeah, they're making it really hard to actually continue being. Well, let's face it, they are still very, very good compared to certain other options.
Yeah, but that's because the other options are so bad.
Exactly.
It's not because Nintendo are doing anything especially great. That's the problem.
It's not a good
Like-
thing to be.
I threw in my lot with Nintendo when I got my first console, which was the 60, because
Yep.
I was a PC gamer. And I haven't bought a Nintendo system since because they have not gone to any effort to make me want to.
Hmm.
But the only arrow in their quiver is, haha, another Zelda game. You want to play another Zelda game, right? Because you played the last one. Like, that's always their tactic. That's the only tactic they've got. And,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't really work for me outside of the Fate franchise.
If they put Fate and Smash Bros, you'd be all over that.
Like, I would have already bought a Switch for Smash release if I knew that there was going to be Fate characters.
Let's face
'Cause
it,
that's
it worked
just
with
easy.
Persona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked on Ari, so it'd probably work on me.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their pet franchises, but for some reason, all of Nintendo seems to count as a pet franchise if it's somebody's pet franchise.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo is
And,
the
like,
franchise.
And the thing is, they will, like, I won't defend the decisions about the really viciously bad rates on the gacha. Like, you're not gonna catch me saying, oh, but it's okay because X. But people who defend Nintendo do that all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much Nintendo's byline these days.
Yeah, you don't get. Well, there are Zelda fans. They are also usually Nintendo fans. If you like one Nintendo game, you're a fanboy for all of them, and thus you fanboy for the entire company, and everything they do is wonderful. This is what I think causes the Nintendo magic effect, where we don't ever see price drops.
Which
Like-
renders their store basically useless.
That and the horrible UI.
Like- I've gone into the Nintendo eShop a number of times on my DS, and I have never purchased anything because I get sticker shock every time.
Yep.
Yep. I bought the DLC story chapters for SMT4 Apocalypse, and that's the only thing I bought out of the 3DS eShop.
Anywho, we should probably move on.
We should.
Because, yeah, Smash,
Um,
great game, terrible netcode.
Good game. Very, very terrible netcode. Do not pay for.
Alright, so we got some news. Who wants to be... Do you want to start with something positive, or should we go straight to the negative, or the... maybe something completely out of left field? What on earth were they thinking?
Well, we can start with. Well, do you have something positive that you particularly want to talk about?
Positive Monster Hunter?
Okay, we'll talk about Monster Hunter
Always like
because
to talk
Monster
about
Hunter's in Smash. so
Also,
we can-
yes. Well,
do a
Rathalos
segue?
is in Smash.
Well, when I say Monster Hunter, I mean
Yeah.
Rathalos is pretty much the face of Monster Hunter. So Monster Hunter's in Smash.
Yes.
and the tail, and the teeth, and the claws, and the wings.
The
and the
various
poison.
fire.
Oh, the poison.
Rathalos is not very nice.
Rathalos is a humongous jerk.
Yes.
Like, I would rather fight, like Val Hazak than a Rathalos.
Yeah.
At least Val Hazak's not gonna be a douche.
He'll
At
just
least-
outright kill you.
Yeah, you just can't get that boy out of the sky, and you play the waiting game, dodging his swipe over and
That's-
over again.
That's Kushaladora, who I would also rather fight.
So,
All right.
we've got two bits of news for Monster Hunter. The first is an announcement of a crossover event between Monster Hunter and The Witcher. Because Geralt's been in everything else, so why not Monster Hunter?
CD Projekt Red, or the original novel owners, one of the two, has got them licensing deals going out all over the place.
I remember the original. We I think we covered this on a show brief. In fact, but the original novel author sold the rights to the franchise for a lump sum.
Yep.
Oh, did he?
A lump sum,
And now...
not royalties. He could have chosen royalties, but he said that video games are a stupid medium that will never go anywhere.
The thing is, the lump sum was also, comparatively, a pittance.
Oh, as these cases usually are when they get mentioned.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
he got really salty about that, as you might expect.
He sued CD Projekt
Or tried
saying that
to.
it was me. Well, yeah, but like it's like I have got buyer's remorse, and I'm going to sue you over. Like,
No.
that's what's going on here.
So yeah, sorry, but that's not how this works. Did you read your contract?
Yeah, but CD Projekt Red can now print money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's he's in everything. He's been in Soul Calibur 6 most recently. I think was his most recent guest appearance.
Yes.
I think.
Yep, he's in Soul Calibur 6.
I think he was in something else before that as well, and now he's in Monster Hunter.
Yep. And
On the upside, at least he is a monster hunter.
he is a monster hunter. He's not out of place.
That's like his job.
It is
Yeah.
his job.
His job description.
Appropriate game for his occupation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm not exactly sure what capacity he's going to be in the game. If you can play as him, or if he's just there and you do some quests alongside him and get a Witcher themed armor set or something.
I presume he'll be a skin,
Presumably,
Yeah.
yeah.
and you'll probably be able to get a sword of his. Something.
It'll be
Get one of the
dual
silver
swords, probably,
swords or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of news. The other bit of really good news is an expansion pack for Monster Hunter World.
Yep, and they've been more forthcoming on what they're targeting than I.
Hmm.
So they came right out and said, okay, so what we want to do here, we want to create an expansion. It's going to be paid DLC expansion. It's not going to be as big as the original game, but it's going to be quite large. We're going to have a lot of content and so forth. If you've bought our expansions before, you know what to expect. Like this was more hard detail than I expected. I expected them to just throw out a teaser and leave it at that.
Yeah. But they've also been saying, like, okay, we've talked to people who've actually played the game and, you know, the fans and all that, and they've decided they told us this system doesn't really work properly. So we're going to change it. This is, of course, you know, Mirror Universe Capcom, by the way, where everything they charge is for a fair price and makes sense.
Well, we've got more Capcom on the other side of that mirror to talk about later.
The actual Capcom, yes.
Yeah, Monster Hunter and a few other select divisions of Capcom are like left alone in their locked room, separate from Capcom, and Capcom's just like, leave them alone. They make money.
Do not touch them. They are the money machine. So yeah, there's all sorts of things. They haven't confirmed exactly how many monsters, but if it's in line with the previous updates and ultimate versions, then you're probably looking around, I don't know, 20 to 30, give or take. New storyline, entirely new zones, new mechanics.
The only thing that worries me about this is it's an ice level, snow level, cold level.
There's always a cold level in.
Have you been
Monster Hunter.
traumatized by these in the past or something? Because your worry seems really disproportionate.
I just came off of a Mega Man X binge, and Mega Man X, which one was it? 6's snow level is the biggest BS nightmare you've ever seen in your life.
Here's a better idea.
Because
Don't play Mega Man 6X or X6. Just
But I
don't.
had to get the Platy.
Don't play it. It's bad.
It is bad, but I had to get the Platy.
I had to torment somebody with the Burns of the Ground video musical montage the other day.
That was 7, but yeah, that was bad too.
That was also 7, but yeah, the screaming and the crying was delicious. But
I fully expect all of the classic ice level gimmicks will appear, but they will probably appear in a very limited fashion.
you tend not
Like
to get.
they will be relevant to fighting one particular boss.
Yeah, Monster Hunter, you tend not to get too much in the way of ice sliding or anything like that. The biggest concession is usually just cold damage, which amounts to a constant sapping of stamina.
So we don't have to craft a special pair of snowshoes to stop ourselves from
you have
sliding
to-
from fire to fire.
You
No.
have to craft drinks to keep you warm.
Yeah, you have hot drinks as opposed to cold drinks which you use in the desert. That said, though, you will still need ice resist gear for the various monsters. One of which has been confirmed more or less to be Nagakuga. Not Nagakuga. Yes, Nagakuga.
Nagakuga is probably the only thing which is close to the Rathalos family for recognizability, I think.
Yeah.
Because even I know about Nagakuga.
The more famous of that family, though, is the one that shares its model, Tigrex, who is a big jerk face.
Well, she's a skeleton,
Well, yeah.
not really the model.
Close enough. It's more or less a reskin. There's not a whole lot of difference between the two, other than color and attack patterns.
Tigrex's head is like a cuboid.
Yeah, it is.
Oh boy!
So if we're getting Nagakuga, we're probably going to get Tigrex.
But
Or
you
at least
realize
he'll be in there somewhere, like
Yeah.
on the horizon.
Being horrible.
so they realize that they put too much dang stuff that does fire damage in the initial launch of the game, so they're overcompensating by making everything do cold damage in this X-Pack.
Well, I would be fine with that because for once it wouldn't be a huge detriment to me the fact that I never have fire. Always have fire.
Yeah, but if we're going ice and ice caves particularly, you're going to get Kezu. So have fun with that.
Yeah, Kezu. Wow.
Yeah,
Is
Kezu
it? He would be on
green-
the same sort of skeleton as that green poison, right?
green poison. Giganox? Yes.
No, the one that we already have. Can't remember what it's called. It's got a stupid name.
That thing.
Drake, I guess, or
Broadly?
whatever it is.
The chameleon one.
Oh, the dumb looking thing with the blow up butt that farts on you.
Yeah. That I can't remember the name of for some reason.
Puka something.
Pookie.
Pookie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Broadly,
he looks retarded. Mainly, I assume that it will be like him because he's got a weird butt,
He does have
and
a weird
Kizu
butt.
also has a weird butt.
Also, Giganox has a head for a butt.
It's true.
Is
that the one that screams through its butt?
Yes, that's the one. It screams out both its mouth and its butt at the same time.
So
That's not natural.
No, it's
Monster
not.
Hunter: The Fractured Butthole is a game that's coming out. Okay.
It's a dragon that has no bones. So does Kezu. And Kezu, because of an ascended
That's
bug,
correct.
has absolutely no soundtrack. So you can hear this thing slithering on the ceiling all the time.
But yeah, so I don't know how many monsters are going to be in here. I'm sort of a bit apprehensive about that because where they will skimp will be on number of monsters if they skimp.
Yeah.
But worried. And the other thing I'm worried about, the more significant thing about, is just how pimp does my gear need to be to participate?
Well, they are
Because-
adding G rank, which is the next one above high rank.
Yeah, but am I going to have to put up with being one shot by literally everything? Because my gear is like appropriate for finishing the original story and not much beyond that.
We shall see.
That's what I'm concerned about. Because gear has gone a long way where I
Yeah.
stopped playing.
I
Yeah,
imagine they'll put in some kind of gear catch-up mechanic if it does require a power jump.
Well, I don't know. Does Monster Hunter do that though? What I have learned about Monster Hunter is a lot of the things that you would normally expect about quality of life just don't happen.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. This is our first time, I believe, they're actually launching a expansion pack, not a Ultimate Edition where you have to play through the whole game again anyway. So
Right.
we'll see.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, that's some good news. That's a really, really good game, and they're going to
As
make
long-
it better and give us more of it.
Yep.
That's-
I wonder how many regions they will do.
I do hope there's quite a bit of diverse regions in the game because that's another worry with Ice Worlds.
Is that they
is
get
sometime-
stuck on one theme and just do it over and over.
Yeah.
And one paddock of ice looks more or less like another.
Yeah, they need to
Right.
differentiate it from the current mountainous, like, it's not snow on the mountainy, bubbly, undersea looking area, but it kind of gives that same impression.
I'm expecting cold subterranean. I'm expecting possibly some more lava as well
Yeah.
because they can't get away from fire-breathing things.
Yeah, like things on previous Monster Hunter ice maps, you've got snow fields, ice caves, black ice fields, and lava.
I want to see someone do like an alpine forest
I'd like to see Alpine.
because it's always like rolling plains that just happen to be covered in snow on one side and jungle on the other side and no combination of the two biomes.
Yeah. Gets a bit silly, really, doesn't it?
Like most of cold places in the real world are alpine forests that
Yes.
aren't actually Antarctica.
There is no glacier. There are glaciers, but less commonly glaciers or just ice field for no apparent reason.
Do you think that they will ever reuse? Like, do you think they're going? There's like some is there some like snow-themed Elder Dragon they could reuse?
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
What do you think would be likely?
Let me see. It's not exactly snow themed, although I think there was a snow themed variation. But Fatalis would be nice. Fatalis
Which is a what?
pretty much just Dragon Classic in terms of appearance.
I see.
It's also a gigantic mini jerkface.
Well, there aren't that many monsters that aren't gigantic mini jerk faces,
Yes.
unless they are like also Kuluyaku.
It's worth pointing out, Fatalis is not actually an Elder Dragon. It is a black dragon, which is kind of the next step up. This thing's actually intelligent.
That's not good.
No.
You can think.
Him can think, and him can think
But-
strategically.
But the anime depict Kirin's intelligence.
Yeah, the anime does really weird things.
As far as I'm concerned, the Kirin that you fight in the game is intelligent.
No, it's just malicious.
He's just a dick.
Just walks up cliffs. That's what horses
Like, that thing knows how to tick you off, and that's its job. And it knows it.
Oh,
It's going to stick you in lightning loops where you're stuck dodging lightning forever and giving you no opportunity to attack it for like a full 5 minutes.
Yep.
Maybe it is intelligent and it talks to you and stuff while you fight, but after the amount of shock therapy you undergo fighting him, you just don't remember.
Could be very possible. Let me think. Actual ice elder dragons. Can't think of it at the moment. Well, actually, I can think of one, but it's basically a giant beard whale, and you had to fight it underwater at the time. So that one's not coming back.
No, we don't need underwater combat.
No,
Nobody does underwater combat.
I forget.
It's just not.
No. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't miss it from 3.
It's a novelty everybody remembers and says, remember that thing we had to do in that one video game that had water in it that you had to swim in?
It did give you the opportunity to hit poke a shark in the face with a pointy stick.
Yeah, but there's only so much novelty you can get from that before you realize, oh, it's another underwater level.
I should not be poking sharks in the face with a pointy stick. Because for some reason, if you hit them with your regular weapon, they didn't drop any resources.
Ugh. Every time somebody mentions underwater level, I think Devil May Cry 1's weird first-person swimming section for like half a chapter. It was like a first-person shooter. It was really dumb.
All right. Let's see. Next topic.
Where do you want to go?
You want to go really dumb?
We can go really dumb if you want to.
In that case,
But which particular brand of really dumb is it? Because pretty much everybody every big name in the games industry is taking turns to see who can out really dumb the other. Like, I don't even know who is holding the beer at this point because all of them have said hold my beer.
they're holding each other's beer at this point. Everyone's holding somebody else's beer. In this case, I'm going to say Sega.
Okay.
we got the promotional
Okay.
images for the
Get a
new
picture.
upcoming
Get
Sonic.
a
And you thought Sonic 06 was bad.
Get us a picture of this in live show chat so that people know what we're talking about.
All right, I'll have to pull these down again, but Sonic got gams.
You're like the only comparable feeling to seeing this particular picture that I could sort of internally classify was my reaction to seeing legs in a row.
Oh yeah, legs in a row. So yeah, these are the first. Excuse me, the first promotional posters for the Sonic movie coming out next week with Jim Carrey as Robotnik for good reasons. Yeah. Let me see. Here we are.
What were they thinking?
We've got two. We've got an outline of Sonic, the full Sonic, and we've got a picture of Sonic sitting atop the Golden Gate Bridge, and the camera is right between his legs.
Why would you do that? Who came up with that composition? Who is responsible for this?
This is either going to turn out to be the absolute worst marketing decision of all time or the best one, because everybody's going to be talking about how dumb this is.
I'm just trying to find a good picture which somebody hasn't actually shopped. Because there's a lot of these photos now which people have shopped, like having Sonic's disturbingly athletic legs resting against Geralt's bathtub.
I see.
Here we are. We'll pop this into live show chat. Boop. There we are. So,
somehow, we had somebody boop into the recording channel despite it being locked.
Who?
Huh.
Sleepbacks came in the channel somehow.
Why did you permit it?
I didn't.
You didn't, because it's actually not locked at the moment.
Locked anymore? I'll relock it.
Yes, please.
Not sure how that happened.
Sorry, Sleep. We're doing a thing.
Yeah, we am doing a thing.
So, if you look at the picture there in the relevant place, I'll actually put it onto the video as well, because, why not? It looks like they've just taken a professional runner and slapped Sonic's head on it in fiberglass.
It's horrifying.
It is terrible.
Like this is like beyond Uncanny Valley. This is disturbing. There are people that like Sonic. Why couldn't they have found one of them to do the direction for this?
I think
just
I love speculating about how dumb the marketing people can be in any of these incidents when they pop up. Somebody had to be like, okay, look, the Sonic brand is so damaged, we can't possibly make it any worse. Let's make the dumbest thing we possibly can to get people talking about it.
Oh boy, we haven't seen what Dr. Robotnik's going to look like yet, but I don't think Jim Carrey's going to work either.
It's Jim Carrey in a fat suit.
It's Jim Carrey in a fat suit.
At least they didn't try and give him sexy legs too.
No. Well, we don't know, actually. For all we know, he might turn up with just a broom handle stuck to his face or something. But, okay, Dr. Robotnik's not exactly the most mentally stable person, let's just say. But is he the Grinch, or is he the Mask?
He could be, if he really wanted to be, probably.
I never watched The Grinch.
You're not missing much. It was okay, but meh. So, just why? Who greenlit that design?
Well, I guess that they felt like video game movies just weren't up to their usual caliber lately. We needed to have a real stinker.
I mean, the Warcraft movie was kind of alright. We can't have that.
And that's a problem. It was only kind of alright, but that's already too bad.
It wasn't dreadful.
Yeah, it was merely mediocre. It was slightly on the bad side of mediocre, I felt.
I'd put it squarely in the middle of mediocre myself, but yeah. Just why? Apparently, from what I've been able to glean, it's going to be a buddy cop movie. Like, Sonic is going to be teamed up with a cop, who, might I point out, they considered having Michael Jordan act as.
So this is the reverse of Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So instead of... Okay, let's face it. That was... Disturbing Uncanny Valley Ryan Reynolds Pikachu is still kind of cute and is easily identifiable as, this is Pikachu. It's just weird and furry now.
This... And has a super deep voice.
And has a rather weirdly deep voice, yes. This is not...
Well, the conceit for that is that people can't normally tell what it says. So maybe all Pokemon sound like Ryan. We don't know that.
Maybe they do. That would be a world I would actually like to visit.
A Jigglypuff that sounds like Ryan.
That seems to be the Jigglypuff, by the way, from the anime. It's holding a Sharpie.
I see.
Yeah, that's an old anime reference. And it's actually come back in the new series, by the way. Because why not?
I couldn't tell if people hated that.
I think everyone just kind of loved to hate that Jigglypuff.
It just wants to hear you listen to its song or whatever.
And it will draw on your face if you fall asleep.
Yep. Something.
Something Jigglypuff. So,
also, folks, I apologize for hacking my lungs out occasionally. I am still recovering, and I'm missing the mute button sometimes.
Kindly stop dying, sir. So yeah, Sonic in a buddy cop movie. Right.
Why? That's not what Sonic is about at all.
No.
I don't
Sonic
know.
is about going fast.
Detective work last I checked was fairly
Slow and methodical.
Yeah, not
The opposite
fast.
of Sonic.
I should actually point out, by the way, the cop he is going to be teamed up with James Marsden.
Who?
The guy who did all the he did Spike in the Buffy series, and he's done all the voice acting for the Dresden Files audiobooks.
Oh, James Marsters.
So James Marsden. Not I'm thinking Masters.
James Marsters.
Marsden did. Let me see. Saved by the Bell.
Is that the last thing that he did?
No, not even close. Last thing he did
Because
was...
if that's the last thing he did, then he's been out of the industry a while.
Let's see. Last thing he did was The Best of Me, which... He was also in Westworld. He did Teddy Flood in that. Made a cameo in Days of Future Past. And he was Jack Lime in Anchorman 2.
Don't you have to be, like, famous for a cameo to matter?
Yes. So he's done some stuff. Not headlining roles.
Oh, well. The headlining role is supposed to be Sonic anyway.
Let's see.
So.
Tika Sumpter is also in it. What is she doing in this? She better not be the love interest. Oh no. Do we have to go through Sonic 06 all over again?
Blue Streak, Speeds by Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Too fast for the naked eye. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sure.
This is the least enthusiastic theme song performance I've ever heard.
It's glorious. So yeah, let's not watch this movie, I guess.
I don't think I could. Like, it would be horrifying. This is a horror movie.
Like, at least Uwe Boll's movies are enjoyable to watch because they're just bad.
Because of his sheer ineptitude as a director.
Complete, yes. Just why? Ben Schwartz, by the way, I believe is actually doing the voice for Sonic. Yes, he is. He did Leonardo in Teenage Ninja Turtles. And he's done some rubbish for Netflix as well. So I think the most important one of that is Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, but which Ninja Turtles? There'd be like 3 different Ninja Turtles.
Rise of the Ninja Turtles.
Which is what year? That's the more important thing here.
Which is 2018.
Okay.
So, probably.
Where everything... I believe that's the one where everything is pointlessly edgy and weird. Let's see. There's some pictures of it. The
So
site
we're
is
going to
leaving
have
me
dark, edgy mascot costumes.
Yeah.
I was interested to note that Cygames has announced that they are working in conjunction with Arc System Works to make a fighter for Grand Blue Fantasy. Which is great news, because Grand Blue Fantasy is beautiful as far as character design.
Yes.
It offends me because it should be a FGO.
It's not an FGO.
It should be an FGO fighter. Because the Grand Blue fighter is being made, the FGO fighter will not be made. The FGO fighter that only exists in my dream.
The FGO fighter will exist after the Tsukihime 2 remake, or Tsukihime remake.
No, I'm pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure it'll happen before. But
before we get a new Melty Blood.
Right, so for those who don't know, Grand Blue Fantasy is another gacha game. It is the one that I have to work the hardest to avoid playing, other than FGO, which I have failed to avoid playing. It is less vicious than FGO in the gacha, and allegedly more vicious in the grind, depending on who you talk to. which is why people call it Grind Blue Fantasy. But like I said, the character designs are awesome. Like the art is very, very, I'd say arguably better than FGO, and a lot of it. So there's a lot of very beautiful material to work with.
All right.
They had an anime, but the anime was a glorified advert for the rest of the franchise.
And not in the fun way like last period was.
No, because what it essentially did is it told enough of the story to get you interested and to resolve absolutely nothing.
You want the rest of the story? Play the gacha game. Give us your money.
Yeah. That was pretty much they directly said that in last period.
Yeah, they did actually.
They explicitly said, if you want to know the rest, then you got to play the gacha game.
This was after taking pot shots at Samsung, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that. This seems like they were operating at cross purposes at times here. But the game developer Cygames have basically become sort of like a transmedia synergy company, which, as far as I'm aware, wasn't really what they ever actually wanted.
That's
from what I've heard, and this I can't confirm that because I've only heard the story. I haven't done in-depth research to find out how true it is. What they really wanted to do was to make real video games, but the only investors that they could find were for gacha games because gacha games are reliable dosh, and they were unproven. So they've run a bunch of gacha games now. The main one of which is Grand Blue Fantasy. I think and they've done some other stuff as well. Helped fund a couple of their ground. But it looks like they have managed to make enough money with their property that people are now willing to put their money behind them, and they can finally fulfill their dream of making real games. So they've got, I believe they've got Platinum behind them making something else as well.
Ooh.
I think an RPG or something. And I've seen a little bit of footage and trailers and teasers of a Grand Blue Fantasy JRPG, and it looks gorgeous as expected. The fighter looks, it looks nice, but you can't tell anything about the mechanics of the fighter teaser level footage.
No.
But yeah, so it's Arc System Works, so at least we'll know that the netcode will be better than Smash.
It's not hard. A hamster running inside of a box is better netcode than Smash Brothers.
But yeah, so I'm somewhat excited for that to see what they do, because it's a very beautiful series. It's classic JRPG style high fantasy. There's not really anything especially imaginative about it, but the character designs are really gorgeous. A little bit over designed sometimes, but that's half the fun in a JRPG.
Yeah.
So
playing a JRPG, what do you expect?
If you're not playing a JRPG where everyone's wearing their entire wardrobe at the same time, it's just not a JRPG.
As shoulder pads.
There and at least
the actual wardrobe is shoulder pads. Yes.
Well, not just their wardrobe unless they own it. Belt. Probably other people's wardrobes involved as well, because there's always more belt.
Nobody owns that many belts.
Except for Asbel.
Except for Ashbel, but Ashbel's kind of a jerk, so who cares?
Asbel has all the belts.
Asbelt.
He has your belts. And my belts. Yes, that was his nickname.
But, yeah, the main thing that struck me about this, other than that I was interested in it, was that, man, Arc System Works are busy this year.
They are.
Oh, they had the biggest smash hit fighting game in the last decade. Like,
do those guys ever sleep?
They have two teams. They have red and blue team. When red team's done with a project, which is the Guilty Gear team, they take a break and let blue team work. And then when blue team's done, who is the Blaze Blue team, they take a break and they let red team work. And they don't always work on Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. Sometimes they work together and work at the same time, but that's fairly infrequent. It has been a recent thing with Cross Tag and DBZ Fighters being developed at the same time. DBZ by the Guilty Gear guys and Cross Tag by the Blaze Blue guys. So yeah, that's how Arc System Works was structured when those two games were announced. I don't know if they've changed it up, but that used to be how Arc System Works operated.
All right.
There was actually an answer for that, and I had it for once.
So yeah,
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they're still being so busy that they haven't been sleeping.
But yeah,
It's been a really, really big year for them.
they're busy crushing Capcom into the dirt.
Well,
A
no.
noble pursuit, to
I'd
be
say,
sure.
I'd say no on that because Capcom has been crushing themselves into the dirt.
They're
Apart from Monster Hunter, so they're probably breaking.
Yeah,
they're just helping fill in the hole Capcom dug for themselves.
there you go.
Speaking of which, Capcom are energetically digging another hole for themselves right now in Street Fighter.
Again,
They started to dig themselves out with Street Fighter V. They were doing a lot of good things to fix things up.
what,
and
like
then this happened.
pushing every copy of the game into a landfill?
Well, like fixing their encoding so that it stays 50 gigabytes and doesn't continue to exponentially get bigger.
Okay,
For
that's the
one.
next best thing then.
Fixing up their netcode, fixing the input delay, fixing a lot of the character models, big balance patches, complete system reworks of systems people just thought were terrible in Street Fighter V. Like, giving characters whole extra V-triggers they can pick because the ones they had were garbage
Heh.
to make them viable. Like, they were doing good. I mean, not enough to get me to go back and play the game because they already lost me at day one, but it got some people back. And then they did this.
Ads.
So, from what I understand, these things, you can opt in to get advertisements displayed to you on the loading screens between matches and receive additional rewards if you do so in-game currency. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's my understanding of it.
I
Well,
believe it was experience or something.
Yeah, like you get your experience equivalent faster.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there have been people have been apologists for this, like Abo half-heartedly tried to be, but they have set it up such that the default setting is for ads to be on, and you're basically hamstringing your accrual rate of whatever statistic or currency it is if you turn them off. So they have set a new baseline for what is normal to earn, and you can nerf yourself
Yeah.
below that.
Yeah, you'll be earning money to buy the fighters with funny money slower if you don't turn on the ads.
Yeah.
Which means more grinding.
So, from what I can
So,
gather...
like, do they not want to not look like the devil? Do they like looking like the devil? Is that sort of just their thing?
I guess.
Their Street Fighter team might actually be the devil. I'm not sure.
They've just given up and gone full devil.
Have I mentioned its install size?
No. you
Several
haven't.
times.
Several
Yes, I
times?
have.
Yes, you have.
Several.
Okay.
I mean,
I was going to give you a
70
chance
plus
to
gigs.
plug it again.
it's 70 plus gigs.
Yes. So, from what I can gather and from other people's reports, the ads will actually pop up between rounds in game. So
Oh, so it's
It-
even
it-
worse than loading
it
screens.
interrupts. Yeah, it's not just loading
No, what are
screens.
you talking about? It's all over the characters.
It's also all over the characters.
Yeah, like they wear endorsements,
Yeah.
like
I was going to come to that.
like sports people.
So, yeah, Chun-Li on her gigantic thighs now carries ads for in-game DLC. Enjoy.
Like, this is really egregious, man. No, there's no defending this. It's incredibly grotesque.
Yep. It's just why? Why would you ruin everything like this?
Because
People have tried in-game advertising before, and it always goes down badly.
But this is special because it's Capcom, and Capcom is a verb at this point.
It is.
Capcoming is a thing you can do. And Capcom has shown they are still the kings at Capcoming.
Oh, Capcom. It's been a while since we've said that, actually.
Not
Yeah.
long enough.
Not long enough.
They start to recover a little bit from the absolute stomping they got from Arc System Works, and then they just shoot themselves in the foot again.
How can they think that this looks good? How can they think that people aren't going to feel slighted by this? People already, as a general rule, the current mood in the games industry for anybody paying attention is not very positive.
No.
Generally speaking, gamers are feeling more and more like they're being taken advantage of, and the only exception are the tide of the upcoming generation of people who don't do anything but play Fortnite and steal their mother's credit card to buy dances or whatever it is that you do on Fortnite.
That's pretty
Presumably
much
there's
it,
a
yes.
game in there somewhere. But
No,
yeah, the generally speaking, the games industry has taken a very mercenary turn, and it has not been going very well for the big dogs lately.
No.
It should be pretty obvious at this point.
Oh, geez. Between loot boxes, in-game advertising, terrible releases of games, getting incredibly smug about your supposedly proactive message stuck in the game. Thank you, EA. Just anyone who's been paying any sort of attention to the industry is really getting over just how irritating and disrespectful this is.
I think a part of my week I intentionally left out for time was really cements this point. I was Christmas shopping this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at GameStop because they always have a decent bargain bin up around Christmas time. And this year it was 3 games for $15. In that bin were huge AAA titles released in the last year and a half.
Yep.
The games industry had just completely shot themselves in the foot with. They're 100% out of touch, and gamers don't want to buy their products. They're turning them back in droves so big, they were literally throwing them in a bin to just be picked up so you get the discount for buying 3 games.
Just take them and go away.
This includes like Mass Effect Andromeda. I have a picture of that one. Both the Star Wars Battlefront games. And they told me Fallout 76 will probably be in there by the end of New Year.
I would not be scrap surprised to see Battlefield 5 in there as well.
Yeah. I think one of the Battlefields was in there. One of the more recent ones.
Yeah. Battlefield 5, we didn't actually get to cover that last week, but it's bombing in sales because, it's one of the heads of development came out and said, if you don't like our woke-ass message, don't buy it. So the gaming industry, gaming community said, okay.
Basically, that game is being viewed by most people as an insult.
Oh yeah,
Since it's all about writing strong words.
Well,
not anything about anything with anything to do with Battlefield. The whole thing is just a mess.
Yeah,
as just message.
To really rub it
packaged as a video.
There's images out there from DICE's Christmas party where they're openly mocking people who just don't like the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
The thing is that the story that they are telling did exist. It's just it was like a team of Polish commandos that did the thing that the one teenage practically woman manages to accomplish.
Yeah. So no respect for the people who actually lived through it, all their families.
Nope. We just need to push our super woke message, show how woke we are, to signal that virtue.
What I find really annoying is if they want to tell a story about a woman in the war, there's plenty of them.
But the thing is that they're not suited for Battlefield.
No,
because the only like conventional infantry unit that was full of women were Russian snipers.
Yeah. And
there were some that accomplished incredible things, but they did it mainly by staying very still for a very long time until the correct moment.
Yes, but
which is not really Battlefield gameplay.
Here's an idea. Don't milk a franchise.
Yeah, like I think that we've seen enough of Battlefield.
Like, if you want to tell a good story, I wouldn't mind playing a game about a Battlefield medic clinic. That could be interesting. You can tell a great story through that.
I think they should just stop making Battlefield games.
I think they should.
I think it needs to go out to pasture at this point. None of the recent ones have sold very well. They've all underperformed.
They have. Especially
they're trying to take on the incumbent ruler of that genre, Call of Duty, without really having anything to do it with. They aren't bringing anything to the table that could possibly give them an in, a way to steal people away from the incumbent ruler. It doesn't make sense to keep doing what they're doing. This is one of those definitions of insanity things.
This is an EA, of course it is.
Because there's not any measurable difference in any other respect between Battlefield 1, which is the previous entry, and this new one. There's no real iterative development. It's just a waste of everybody. It's a waste of game. It's a waste of development.
It's just
the only reason this game. Well, there are 2 reasons this game exists. 1, to be woke. 2, because they have got their shareholder facing people have managed to convince their shareholder this is the way to. Never mind that it's really not panning out for them and showing no signs of that changing.
Yep. Like this is what gets your game in that bargain bin.
Yep.
Get woke, go broke.
Uh,
But
also, while we're on the subject, people were optimistic about Dragon Age 4 last week when it was announced.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Because the director has come out and said that the Dragon Age franchise has always been about inclusivity and belonging, and we're going to make that the central message of our new Dragon Age.
And he has unashamedly admitted he's going to cram his own personal politics into the game.
Yeah, this is not the usual approach. The usual approach is to say, no, we aren't cramming personal politics into the game, and anybody who thinks we are is evil because they don't share our politics.
And then do it.
The normal. Well, the thing is that I think that a lot of them don't actually see it as cramming politics in.
Mm-hmm.
They think of it as being good people. That in order to be good people, you have to cram your politics into them.
Yeah.
They don't see it. They don't see it as a question of politics,
Yeah,
because having the right politics is a question of morality to them.
Yes.
They live in such an insular community. They don't even realize it's politics half the time. I bet they just think this is just what everybody thinks. So obviously it's right.
But in this case, this guy is an ideologue. He does know it's politics, and he intends to cram it down people's throats because he believes he is fighting a moral battle, in which he is executing his particular mission by turning a video game into a message piece.
Uh-huh.
The intent from the outset is propaganda, and he is not attempting to hide it.
Yep.
So yeah, just give up on that one.
So when he comes out,
let go woke, get woke, go broke play out in its fullest.
yep. Like when he comes out and says that this has always been the undermining message behind Dragon Age. What?
Last
Yeah,
I checked,
I don't think he paid the
segregation
same
and oppression were a part of the key intro story cutscenes for every race.
I don't think that he was playing the same Dragon Age. In fact, I wonder if he's actually ever played a Dragon
Yeah, I don't think he has. But
I don't think
Age. Maybe he only played the second one. You know, the
Maybe.
really awful one where all of the women were ugly? Like, really
Everyone-
ugly?
everyone was really ugly, I suppose, too. But, yeah, okay, there's politics in the game, but that's politics in the sense that it's world building. It's not trying to cram a message down someone's
Yeah,
throat.
it was about deciding how a country would be ruled,
Yeah,
in large part.
there was no
That's
acceptance.
it's political because it's a matter of public policy.
Yes. Like, there's no acceptance. Even when your ragtag group of misfits saves the world, presumably if they don't die, they're still not
Everybody
accepted.
still hates you.
Everyone still hates you. No, nothing has been solved, nothing has been progressed, and no one has gone woke.
In fact, that's the reason why I never finished the game, because the world was just depressing.
Yeah.
Nothing you ever did changed the fact that the world is just a complete hellhole, and nothing will ever change. In fact, the overall theme is far more nihilistic than it is.
Yeah, it is.
I could put up with all that if they didn't have DLC in my face every time I went back to camp.
Yeah.
Contentment?
Contentment. Yeah.
That is the reason I didn't finish Dragon Age 1. Is every time I go back to camp, see the dang DLC sitting in my camp.
Yeah. Just sitting there, waiting for you to buy it, and annoying you if you don't.
It's like,
Just-
yeah.
Yeah, that was incredibly on the nose.
Maybe putting an idiot savant in there was supposed to make.
I kind of liked him.
I did.
I don't know, it was... Well, yeah, it was also annoying. But
His enchantments were too expensive.
his enchantments were way too expensive.
I don't remember anything about that franchise because I gave up on it.
Captain
But,
Janeway was a dragon. That's all I remember.
Yeah, Capcom are evil. The new Dragon Age sucks. EA are evil. Moving on. Who's
Yeah,
next on
The
the?
sky is blue.
Oh, we can segue into your favorite dead horse to beat.
Blizzard! Because Blizzard has been looking on with envy at EA and at Bethesda.
They had a beer unheld.
Yeah, a beer needed to be held by someone else because someone was about to do something incredible. So, the big news that has broken. Well, we'll start with the small news. The small news is that the new content pack for
Oop,
WoW has
you're-
come out.
You're lagging.
Yeah,
Am
it's
I?
just
I mean, I
it's
can't
just
tell
you
on mine.
two. It's a little bit.
Hmm.
You're okay now. It's just it comes and goes. It's been coming and going all night, but it's not been very bad.
I've had a poor connection about.
Anyway,
Don't know what the deal is. Anyway, the small big news is that the latest patch for Warcraft has come out because a whole bunch. First of all,
yeah, there's the lag.
Yeah, we lost all of that. You're hitting the spike.
Well, there's nothing I can do about that. Hardly
Yeah.
anybody here is even tech savvy, so nobody's using using the bandwidth. It's just that the ISP is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay now. You're back for now.
And until I start talking about the topic again, in which case it will disappear.
Yeah, that sounds
Anyway,
right.
the next big WoW patch has come out, and everybody hates it.
Yeah.
The classes were in disarray, particularly shamans were unplayable, which is one of the things that, started ABO's high speed burnout. Because, shaman preferred class and they're so trash you actually can't play them in high level content. So, yeah, it's only been how many swords. But in addition to not making any significant class changes that will ameliorate the massive class, they issued a PTR which was really quite useless. It didn't trial a lot of the things that needed to be assessed correctly, and then when they didn't know what things they were going to change from what they said on. They didn't know what was going to change until the very, very last minute, because most of the things weren't on PTR to test, and they claimed they didn't know taken back off the global cooldown, because if you recall, for Battle for Azeroth, surely decided to stick a whole pile of critical things back on the global cooldown that need to be off the global cooldown in order to work, because they're geniuses like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't know what was going to be pulled off, and what's more, the thing goes live, and they've kept artifact power, or the new artifact power equivalent.
Yeah.
It's just kept. You can't advance anymore. And everybody had been, planning to get caught up. Not going to happen no more. You've just been frozen. Then while this is not necessarily unusual, like this is not too dissimilar to the way that you would cap yourself in the previous expansion, there was no communication about it. It was left uncapped on PTR. So by the time it went live, everybody assumed that the PTR was going to be reflective of that, but no, apparently not. So yeah, they've released this thing when they basically admitted, like previously they have said, and in classic Blizzard fashion, that you hate the Azerite system, well that's too bad, you're gonna have to deal with it. I'm not joking, that's how they said it.
Yeah, everyone hates the Azerite system, by the way.
So apparently they've gone back on that, and this is one of the few positives. And they have said in a Q&A that while things are in 8.1 of the way they currently are, they're planning to just basically burn the system to the ground and start over in 8.2. And that they will probably just stop trying to use this type of system come the next expansion. They think that maybe they done goofed and that this is not actually the future of the game, which is honestly what they had come to think. That they had an incredible idea that it was infallible and every expansion was going to have one going.
Yeah.
So
no.
Yeah, after a great deal of time, they have finally converged on a solution which looks identical to everybody's feedback from beta. So the cycle has now completed another turn. Basically. So they also into an atmosphere where everybody who is currently playing is burned out, and they have just released a patch which is very content light, which doesn't have the class changes people need, and in general has failed to re-engage the people who are leaving the game in droves, and they are leaving the game in droves.
Mm-hmm.
They have decided that the best way to react to this is to release another paid mount to the mounts.
Because of course.
Because that really helps your optics.
Some weird
That's exactly
flying
what
fox thingy.
time. Yeah. It's a fox.
Yeah, it's a fox
me.
thingy.
Furries love fox. So
Yeah.
I guess. Anyway.
Sonic Fox was the thing, never forget.
We've talked about both foxes and Sonic now. So Sonic Fox is just the natural follow-up.
Please no.
and it's just as cringy, if not more so. Anyway,
Never forget.
I don't think anybody would be able to, even if they want to. So they have basically struck out on all counts. Everybody is now currently everybody who was not in the Diablo fan base that is in the WoW fan base is now offended at Blizzard all over again. So yeah, they're doing great on the PR front. Okay, now for the next piece of Blizzard have functionally axed Heroes of the Storm, but as a business venture, it is dead.
It is dead.
I mean, now let's lay aside in general terms the fine detail of how well Heroes of the Storm did as a game, because what we know about Blizz Activision is that making millions of dollars is not enough. You need to make tens or hundreds of millions, and if you're making hundreds of millions, that's not enough. You need to make billions, and this is something else. But yeah, the reality is that Heroes of the Storm could be doing incredibly, and it would still be doing poorly by Blizzard standard. But at any rate, they've shut it down. Like, they've just killed it dead. After all of the hype that they did at BlizzCon for it, they have pretty much shredded the development team, and they have pulled all those people off and stuck them on other projects. And it's basically going into maintenance mode. And for those that don't know, maintenance mode is basically a limited form of development where they pretty much just try and keep things ticking over. They might release a skin once in a great while just to make it look like the game isn't completely dead, but it's not going anywhere. It's over. The dream is dead. This is what maintenance mode means. Now, this has caused a huge amount of internal turmoil at Blizzard and outside of Blizzard as well, because Blizzard had done something incredibly cringy. And this is something everybody's aware of peripherally, but it's starting to really sort of show its fruits now. Something like the FGC evolved naturally, right?
Right.
FGC is a natural outgrowth of people's enthusiasm for the video games involved in the FGC.
Yeah.
Blizzard thought that they could just use money and buy an FGC equivalent to be the framework around which esports would grow for their games. So they did. I think they bought MLG or something.
Yes.
They just bought a massive esports entity and then forced their games on it. And they spent a humongous amount of money pimping their games, Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm being two of their major ventures in this particular space. And having done that, they now have a massive structure of people built around each of those. They have made a lot of promises to people. They have had people form teams and leagues and that, all surrounding Heroes of the Storm. I mean, Overwatch is in there as well. And Overwatch was fortunate, and I say fortunate in the sense that it was sheer luck enough that they had hit the critical mass not to collapse the way Heroes of the Storm currently is. But Heroes of the Storm now being shut down means that all of those people who formed pro leagues, who spent all this time practicing, who have got their teams all set up, who have done a lot of travel, a lot of training, a lot of rearranging life commitments, all of the staff who have been installed around the concept of Heroes of the Storm as an esport, who have been promised a future, the big events that they promised for 2019 at BlizzCon, just in this few months past, all of that is dead now. It's all gone.
Yep.
All gone. They just spent the last few weeks pimping a 360-day experience boost item for Heroes of the Storm, which was at a discount, and they encouraged everybody to buy it so that they get bonus experience for the next year. And lots of people threw their money at it because it's like, hey, this is a way to support the game, and I'm going to get an experience boost out of it. It's at a discount, I might as well. Now the game is dead. So basically, they have cut all of these people off at the knees. Blizzard is in turmoil. They've got a huge amount of staff who might come in tomorrow and find they have no job now. And people are trying to find new departments to transfer horizontally into, and they can't because nobody wants to accept the sudden influx of basically esports staff who didn't know until like this week, literally this week, that their entire world was going to come crumbling around them. And there's nowhere for them to go. All of the people who have formed professional teams, nowhere for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
This is the level of respect that New Blizzard has for their fans. They just burned down some people's entire worlds overnight. Probably because their shareholders told them to.
Was there any preamble to this at all? Was there any build up to it?
Nope.
Just literally overnight?
Zero. They built up in the exact opposite direction at BlizzCon just this year.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to throw a whole new support behind Heroes of the Storm.
Leaks from inside Blizzard say that the people at the top of operations had known for a couple of months that this was likely going to happen. And nobody who actually does the work on Heroes of the Storm knew until this week or last. So yeah, Heroes of the Storm is dead. Doesn't matter how good it was as a game, it wasn't making enough money for Blizzard, and they had spent a colossal quantity of money pimping it up and employed a huge amount of people and tantalized a whole bunch of fans with items for it and had gotten a whole bunch of esports teams on board, and all of those people are now out of a job. None of their investments matter now. It's all over.
The dream is
And
dead.
did it just like that.
Just
Snap
poof.
of the finger. It's all gone. And it wasn't an instant decision. They knew that they were intending to do it,
Just didn't tell
but they just never told anybody at all. It just happened out of the blue, like declaring that the Diablo franchise was now a mobile franchise. So a lot of people suspect that they just wanted to pull these devs off to put them on projects that will spin more money, like mobile projects.
Probably mobile projects.
But maybe the Pokemon Go clone needs a few extra devs.
I still don't know how they intend on working that.
Yeah. But there you have it, Blizzard. Blizzard showing how much they care about their franchises, how much they care about their people. I'm pretty sure this goes against, and people have said that it goes against their much touted core values for their business, the way they've grievously mistreated everybody involved, to put it bluntly. This is pretty much PR suicide to anybody who understands what they're looking. It's like they're trying to compete with everybody else who is involved in this race to the bottom failure Olympics that's currently taking place.
Here, hold my beer.
Who is going to be the next person to pass a beer?
Who's really
We're
left?
We've got a whole cooler full of beers over here that we're holding. Like,
Well, Bethesda has Fallout 76. EA has Battlefield 5 and Dragon Age, and just being EA.
and Battlefront.
Blizzard now has this. Capcom is laid advertising everywhere. Sony's got their censorship. Microsoft.
Valve has embarked on another spiel of censorship with no clear rhyme or reason to it.
Epic is
Even though
dividing.
we thought we were past this.
Yep. Epic is dividing the player base of everything.
Yep, setting up their new platform.
Yeah, which is incredibly anti-consumer, by the way.
Pretty much it looks like the AAA industry as a whole is in the process of imploding at a pretty startling pace, to be quite honest.
Yeah, like, is it the video game crash of 20 whatever year it's actually going to be officially called?
I don't know what's going to be left of it by 2020.
No.
There's a lot can happen over the course of 2019, but by the beginning of 2020, what will be left of it? I think either it will be rallied or it will be in tatters.
Yeah.
I don't think that the status quo can continue for another year.
And I think what's going to actually determine that are the players. Don't buy into their crappy policies.
Yeah. Can you build an entire industry on Fortnite kitties? This is the question.
Well, that's what Epic
Because that's what they're going for. They're training up a whole bunch of people to reach the age of majority as gambling addicts so that they can bring in money. That seems to be the game plan. I'm not sure whether or not it's that cynical, but it's hard not to believe it since it's so obviously what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'd love to see a competitor to Steam, but taking away user reviews is not the way to go, nor are platform exclusives.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the thing people don't seem to grasp is the success of Steam didn't come out of cheating. It didn't come out of having more platform exclusives than anybody else or anything like that. Ultimately, what got them to win over brick and mortar was they provided the better service.
Yep.
They were able to get people the things they wanted in a timely fashion, much better than brick and mortar could. But they appear to be happy to abdicate that in the realm of games where apparently it's not even enough that they've got an adult classification. I was quite happy with that. Like, I can now turn all that stuff off. I don't have it on. I don't have to see all the porn slattered across my Steam dashboard every time when I sign in, and I'm perfectly okay. Those people who want to buy that, they can turn that on. They can buy as much of that crap as they want. I don't need to see it. They can go and live on their world freely, and I can live in mine, and it's fine. Apparently, that's not good enough. So I keep getting flashbacks to Australian censorship.
Ugh.
They went out of their way to get an adults-only censorship and then refused to use it for anything.
Yeah.
Australia,
We're
not
all still
JPEG.
incredibly salty about that, by the way. As we should be. Good grief, why?
Fern, why do you live in a country where anytime something stupid happens there, the only thing we have to say is Australia?
Because generally we also have the option of throwing them to the spiders.
Raya.
Australia. Bin chickens.
Raya. So
It's
I suppose the only thing that we've really got from Ubi is, you know, their new Far Cry looks like a clone of the old Far Cry, except you spend all the time killing Antifa members, which seems okay.
It looks like Rage 2. It looks exactly like Rage 2.
Oh, they had that dev that they fired for threatening PewDiePie.
Yes. Oh, good grief. I'm not even
Like,
sure.
what is the
to say about
hiring
that.
culture like where you hire these people, these lunatics who believe that they can call on the industry using the power of their own wokeness to end somebody?
I'm not even exactly sure what she means by end him, but
I'm pretty sure from context of looking at the tweets, I'm pretty sure that what she meant was that the entire video games industry should come together to blackball this person she doesn't like.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
yeah.
This is not the first time PewDiePie has been the target of this either.
It's not even the first time this week.
Oh,
much like Ubisoft had the good grace to fire this. Heard I haven't checked up on that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, they
from
did.
what I've heard, that particular developer is going to have to. What's her name? I can't find it.
Do we identify it with a
Something
name?
like Deanna or something. Deanna Laura. She is going to have to add the
There's that lag again. Last
She's
night,
gonna have.
damn it.
She's gonna have to. Is where we lost you.
She's going to have to add the L.
see, there it goes again. It just
She-
I'm
Maybe
pretty
it
sure that
has.
it just hates my voice. I don't know what's going on
I
here.
don't know.
Maybe the pitch of certain words decides to just causes it to need to spend more bandwidth or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't win, and I don't know why my internet's being bad today and yesterday.
Yeah. Last I saw this topic, there was a lot of speculation because it seems like she's fired, but there's no official word.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to say, but it would be nice to see somebody who is acting out like that in the name of, you know, their business gets treated as though they were acting out in the name of their business, as opposed to, you know, being some kind of culture warrior with the endorsement of their business.
We saw it
Which
with
is what it was-
ArenaNet.
seems to
with
happen.
That horrible
Yeah.
price woman.
I think ArenaNet was the best example of it because they maintained a completely sterile opinion is that this person acted unprofessionally and therefore we're getting rid of them.
Yep.
That's a strange thing that I don't know whether it's just my imagination, but it seems to me like generally the idea of professionalism has dramatically eroded over the past couple decades.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I think it's especially bad in the
that
games
being-
industry because they're so insular.
I mean in general terms though, not just in the games industry. I think the games industry is one of the most exacerbated places where it's happened. But I feel like in general, the idea of professionalism in the workplace being a virtue is sort of like not inculcated in anybody anymore.
All right.
Like you're supposed to behave in a dignified fashion when you're a professional.
It's another crime of social media, I think. Social media has committed many crimes.
Yeah, it's probably a property of, everywhere becoming informal because social media has its tendrils everywhere.
Yeah.
Really wish Facebook never was a thing, or MySpace, or Zanga, or any of the predecessors before that.
What's Zanga?
It was the blog site that people could make live journal style blogs on before MySpace that was popular over here.
Okay.
Spelled with an X.
Right. That's one that never actually jumped across the pond.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all
For
like
us,
that
it
one.
was always LiveJournal.
Anytime you get before MySpace, things get fuzzy.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So, any other bits of news before we start wrapping up?
I got another stupid.
Okay.
If you want another stupid. There was a school that I think I heard that they were shutting down they shut down a class or something. I don't have the full details, but the school administrators panicked and called the cops because a kid wrote something on the whiteboard like, on the 7th of December it's time to, and then drew the Smash Brothers logo, and they thought it was a crosshair, and they panicked and called the cops.
Really?
Because they thought that meant active shooter on the 7th.
I'm not surprised.
I could understand that one. That is in the range of normal overreaction from a teacher in general.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Just completely.
I think they should have asked a couple of questions first.
Yeah.
Just maybe a couple. Just a couple.
Just a couple of questions. Like, ask what that symbol is.
Yeah, apparently they had to have the cops look at the question.
What?
Anyway, it was stupid.
Very.
It was deeply stupid.
Oh, boy. So,
let's go find a new planet to live on.
I think we need to. Elon Musk might have the right idea. Let's just go live on Mars.
We're going to start a new country on Mars. With our own laws.
Right.
Oh, dear.
I don't think
All
we
right,
had
folks.
anything else worth talking, so let's get out of here.
All right, folks.
All right, let's go.
Email topic of the week. Which company do you think is belly flopping the hardest?
Who has the best hold my beer moment?
Whose beer has been the heaviest that you've had to hold? Take that analogy however you want.
A few of these beers, I swear, were empty when they were handed over.
I'm pretty sure most of them were.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear. Hopefully next week we have some happy news, but it's us, and we never have happy news.
No.
But yeah. I guess that's closing comments go.
I don't know what to say. Another year almost done.
Oh man, why did you have to say that?
I know, right?
Feels like you just started.
Doesn't
And
it?
already
Just?
you're with the year's nearly over.
Don't want it to be.
Why are you making me get older, man? Why are you doing this to me? It's all your fault. Why would you do this?
I'm older still.
Yeah, you say you want to make us all suffer just because you're old?
Yes.
I was in college and had just started college when I joined VTW. I've been working for 5 years now.
I was playing City of Heroes.
Oh no! Don't remind me of that. I want to play City of Heroes now.
I was playing City of Heroes during the recording of episode 0.
Yes, you were.
I don't remember episode 0.
Good.
It's somewhere. I don't dare listen to it if I do find it. It's on a hard drive somewhere.
I really don't want to know.
If you find it, destroy it.
Yeah, this is
Wait.
like the great shame moment.
We were young and stupid.
Instead of old and stupid.
Now we are old and not wiser at all. Just really, really embarrassed by that.
Old and jaded?
Okay. Maybe. No, I think that's just a special little file that's never going to be opened.
I'm cool with that.
I'm tired. Hopefully next week I won't be as sick, folks. I've been really zonked out for the last 2 weeks just because I haven't had time to recover. I've been what would have been recovery time I spent playing Smash like an idiot this week instead of laying down and actually trying to get better. So hopefully next week I won't accidentally cough on the mic like 3 times.
All right.
So I think we're done, folks. We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye bye.